What's going on, everybody? It is Coach Greg Adams back in here with another YouTube live stream. Shout out to the Coach Gang.
And that's you.
For being in here, being involved, and being active on this YouTube channel. And welcome back to Wednesday's Facts Over Feelings live stream, where we kick the Mickey Ficky facts. If we don't give a fucks about your feelings, you in here with the Bruce Wayne of this ish, the King of Kings, the King of Content, and the Speaker of Truth, yours truly, the Notorious One, a.k.a. Mr. Coachellini, better known as the Prognosticator, Coach Stradamus. And you're in the Desert Storm bunker with none other than EWF. That is every woman's fantasy, but you can call me CGA. See God Allah, and I be the 14-time demonetized champion of YouTube. We're going to hurt some facts. We're going to hurt some feelings today. We got a great show for you today, and we're going to continue on with this early morning's show. If you don't make 100K within the next 5 years, you cooked. You cooked. And we're going to take a look at some information and data that you will own nothing and you will motherfucking like it. We're going to talk about that, where you stand in this situation right here. Oh, you thought this is about dating and relationships? Well, it has something to do with that, but it has other aspects and areas of your life. We're going to provide some inspiration. I'm not a motivational coach at all. I look to light a fire under your rear end, pause. But I'm more of an inspirational type person. I'm not a motivator. I've always claimed to never be a motivator. All right. I don't have a motivating bone in my body. All right. I don't have a motivating bone in my body. And even as a basketball coach in high school, college level, I always told them I'm not a motivator. All right. I have no interest in motivating you. At a certain instance, if you're out here, you should be motivated. All right. If you ain't out here to play and you ain't motivated to play, there ain't nothing I can do, man. I can't motivate you to come out here and do something that you supposed to be out here doing. You volunteered to be here. Some of you guys didn't volunteer to be here. You volunteered to click on my face. You volunteered to be here, but I'm not here to argue or debate. At the best, I can give you some inspiration, but my inspiration comes in the form of hellfire and brimstone, and it comes in the form of judgment, but it comes in the form of facts. All right. The fact that we're going to tell you, and a lot of men are really trying to duck and dodge this. And no matter how soft that I deliver this message, it's still some bitches that can't accept it. The reality is it's in the next 5 years, by the year 2030, if you don't have a combined household income of 100 motherfucking K, all right, you cooked in this motherfucker. Cooked. All right. I'm going to tell you, and we're going to show you the data right now. All right, and it is what it is. But we want you guys to still work towards it, depending on where your age is. If you're 22 years old, by the year 2030, you get a reprieve. You're not in this conversation. We're talking about grown-ass men, all right, with grown-ass men expectations and grown-ass men expectations to survive into your late working years. But that's going to be an absolute fact. So you Mitch-ass ninjas better get your helmet put on right now, because we gonna skitty pop some people in they dome with what's going on here. All right. The reality is times are a-changing. The good times are over. All right. The days where a livable wage can be maintained and you live a regular life in this world, it's gone in the United States. It's boss up time for a lot of you ninjas, and we gotta slap you across the face. We're just gonna show you what we're talking about. You'll own nothing and you'll barely like it. All right. We got that and a couple of other videos to warm up, but to contribute to the day show, $. Yes. And legally. Yes. And make the 100K legally. Thank you, soldier for God. Yes. Make it legally. All right. We're not telling you to do things legally. All right. So anyway, just to contribute to the day show, $, the Notorious CGA on the Cash App, Venmo, Coach Greg Adams TV, PayPal, paypal.me/Coach Greg Adams, and that is near the top of the description box on the Free Agent Lifestyle channel. And you can super chat by clicking the link on the top of the live chat on the Free Agent Lifestyle channel. Normally, there's no earlier contributors this early to the show, but we want to tell you what's going on, man. Los Angeles, the home of the scandalous, going on right now, lit up in flames, in fuego right now. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right window. That is not the right window. So we got to get a good video share capture going on in Southern California. It never rains in Southern California. However, Southern California is on fire. All right, goodness gracious. And why is the screen so small? All right, we'll fix that. All right, we'll fix that up real quick. Let me see if we can get it. Shout out to everybody in SoCal. Got out of SoCal just in time. All right, and SoCal is definitely, this is not a surprise what's going on in Southern California, not at all. All right, let's go ahead and see what this is right now. If you guys don't know, they're experiencing massive winds. So are we in Nevada. And with that, dry season, not a lot of rain. If there's a drought, you're going to have this right here. All right, hell on earth right here. New world order. All right, man, everybody in Southern California, this is a common occurrence. Donald Trump blaming Gavin Newsom. You know, there's a reason why I've heard Donald Trump explain how he can fix this situation. And he says Gavin Newsom refuses to listen to him. But this is amazing footage of a guy inside his house. It looks like there's a fire line. Wherever he's standing, there's a fire line. If you don't understand Southern California, there's a lot of homes that are built on hills and, you know, over ravines. And what'll happen is they have a fire line right up into your plants. Okay. And essentially what they're supposed to do is prevent fire from jumping over that fire line over onto your property in order to preserve your property. It looks like that's what's happening right here as to why his house is not burning. But I do see ash flying around, and all it takes is one of those embers to hit some of that motherfucking stucco, and it's gone. Whoosh. And if you don't understand how fast fires move, man, I once seen a fire move one time, and fire moves fast. I mean, in relatively 30 seconds to 1 minute, a fire could be on your ass. And I don't understand why he's there. I don't know why he's not evacuating. They give you mandatory evacuations if they do have it up to that fire line. You can also evacuate voluntarily if it's not even close to your property. I don't understand why he's still sitting there watching that go, but there's nothing he can do if that house goes up. And definitely don't want to see that. In the video, he's coughing, trying to catch smoke. I mean, it could take you 30 seconds just to pass out, depending on where the fire is. That is a blazing inferno. And yeah, him and his Duke shooter buddy there and his doggy watching this kind of chaos go on. This is definitely hell on earth for him. And even if the house caught on fire, what is he going to do? Stay in there? I mean, so yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. But that's Southern California going on right now. Nevada, like I said, I used to live in Southern California two plus years ago. I came to Nevada, and Nevada is pretty much insulated from a lot of this crazy activity. Southern California, earthquakes, and they have droughts. Obviously, in Nevada, we have droughts, but, you know, it's expected. And then, you know, Southern California is also prone to fires and all kind of violence, liberal violence and this type of stuff. But yeah, me on the other hand, I'm sitting here in Nevada and we don't have those issues, stuff like that. So yeah, man, people are going to be displaced. This is going to be certainly a state of an emergency days before the election. I mean, not the election, but the inauguration of Donald Trump. So this is on Joe Biden's watch. And he's going to have to figure out how he's going to be able to disperse. Is this going to be $500 just like Maui, just like the people of Lahaina? What about the people over there in North Carolina? Are these people this is Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. Bam. Madam Kamala Harris. This is you. This is on your watch right now. This is up to you, Joe Biden. I know you guys are lame duck. I know you guys think you're about to exit the office, but you, Kamala, you, Joe Biden, are certainly in the seat. You are the current president and vice president of our country. It is up to you to figure out how to get these people of California to save their properties, how to get them to not be displaced. You and the $88 billion you recently seen to Ukraine. It is your job to get out and help these California citizens like you did the people of North Carolina and Lahaina, Hawaii, $750. All right, let's see if they're going to get up off of their keister and get their ass over there to Southern California to help those people. Do you think there are? Do you think they are? Probably not. New world order. Probably not. What a way to start off the year, man. Unfortunately for that right there. Blazing inferno. And Karen Bass, yeah, right. Karen Bass was on vacation. She is the fire chief, the female fire chief over there in Los Angeles. She was in Africa, possibly on a safari on vacation. All right. And she had to come on back in town, leave that vacation in Africa. How long is that flight? That had to be an 18-hour flight. All right. To catch up over there. And had to come on back. And it's a female fire chief. All right. DEI, man. We're going to talk about that later. DEI. All right, is one of these situations that has set our country back immensely. And this is one of the reasons why you guys going to have to play catch up. You guys going to have to play catch up. Yes, indeed. 100%. All right, she's the mayor. Did I say, what did I say? The fire chief? All right, and so there it is right there. All right, shout out to FC Barcelona. I'm rocking their jacket here for the next couple of minutes, but boy, is it in fuego in here. All right, it is in fuego looking at that fire. She the new mayor? All right. What happened to Gil Garcetti? Who was the last mayor? Who was the last mayor? It wasn't Garcetti. It was that goofy look. It was who was the last mayor of LA? I can't remember what his name was. It was it Garcetti? It was another guy. I can't remember who it was. So Karen Bass there. All right, she has to come on through. Yeah, it's been a couple years since I've been in SoCal, so I've been paying attention. It was Garcetti, wasn't it? Yeah, Garcetti was the last mayor of Southern Cal. Where is he at now? What is he doing? All right, he was going to run for president for a minute. It was Gil. It was little Garcetti. All right, anyway. Yeah, Garcetti's son. That's who I thought it was. All right, so all right. So there you go right there. What a world we're living in. What an evil world we're living in. Let me check up on these super chats. Eric Garcetti. All right, yes, not Gil. Gil is the dad. Eric is out there. He was going to run for governor and all that. What happened to him? He's Joe Ambassador. He's the ambassador to India. Oh, okay. Fuck. He's going to need a job. He's going to need a job. The ambassador to India. Oh, okay. Shout out to our brother here, Luther, with snaps on the Petro as to end the show. DG Seymour says, Coach, it's 2025. He says, what are the things you love about women? He says, last year your audio cut, and it kept cutting off on you. He says right here, whenever you discuss these things that you love about women, shout out to you. That is a co-sponsorship. Shout out to you. All right, Barca's playing in the Super Copa final on Sunday. Let's go. Shout out to the Culos over there. Pause. All right. All right, what are the five things I love about women? Maybe later on in the show we'll tackle that. Currency says, I quit my 9-to-5 job. I have 3 months of rent saved up. I'm going to take the biggest risk of my life trying to learn how to stand on my own too. Shout out to you, man. New It ain't easy. It ain't easy being cheesy. It ain't easy, Currency, but shout out to you. You quit your job. You got 3 months saved up. I once did that, and I ran out of money. All right. I ran out of money. So then I was scrambling and scraping. I wasn't scrambling and scraping for shit, but yes. All right, it was tough. I was like, I got money saved up. I'm going to go at it. And that money ran out. I was like, whoops. All right, but then I had to, all right. Then I had to figure shit out. You know, I had to hustle a little bit, move in my car. It happens. It happens, man. Listen, so you're going to need a little bit more money. But shout out to you, Currency. It's going to make you tougher. It's going to make you tougher. All right, you'll get it back. You'll get it back. You better have a plan, though. Shout out to David said, what's up, Coach? He says prayers for the people in Los Angeles County and Ventura County. What are your thoughts on the fire situation? It's only 8 days in 2025, and Hollywood is on fire. New world order. All right, yes, sir. Everybody in Ventura County, Thousand Oaks, everybody in Agora Hills. Apparently, you guys are not in school. They shut down the schools. Everybody out there in Pasadena, in that area, these are all my hometown stomping grounds. Sad to see, man. Sad to see, but it's every year. Every year is the fire shit. Every year is this fire stuff in Southern California. For the people who want to move to Southern California, this is going to be a every year thing. They have a wind system called the Santa Ana, the Santa Ana winds, which, I can't describe it. I'm not a meteorologist, but every year there's a Santa Ana winds. I don't know if this is the Santa Ana winds, but normally what'll happen is you'll have the summer, and then normally around October, November, December, or this is a winds, just whipping up winds. And I don't know how it works, but every year they come. And what happens is it takes one little, all right, it takes one little drop. I don't know. And I often think arsonists are a part of this too, because they know the Santa Ana winds are whipping. So what'll happen is they know the winds are going to whip. You get one ash and the whole city is on fire. El Nino. Yes. The El Nino. He says, why didn't we get fires in the 80s and the 90s? Are you certain about that? I know we were getting fires back then. I don't know if we got them that often. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I was around in the 90s. There were fires. There definitely were fires. I don't know if it was that often. But you get one little fucking drop. Somebody takes their cigarette flick and they flick it. The whole Los Angeles County is on fire, right? Just like that. And I swear to God, I think people set them on fire on purpose. This is just me. I don't have any evidence. I just know that what'll happen is everybody's like, it's super duper dry. It's dry season. What'll happen is there will be less rain, and all of the weeds will basically dry out. All of the brush, they call it the brush. All of the brush around Southern California, which is everywhere, will dry out because of the lack of rain after the summer. And fucking one drop and freaking whoosh. All right. It's just like that. But I often think that people like literally intentionally set them. But I don't know. It's just a massive problem just because how Southern California is. It's dry. It's a desert technically. But unfortunately, you have a lot of people that are in houses that are expensive housing. Their houses almost always are vulnerable to these things. So you better have some fire insurance. And it wouldn't surprise me if these insurance companies skedaddle up out of there like they got out of there in Florida. But your whole backyard is vulnerable to fires. If you live in even, in some of these places like Thousand Oaks and up in the hills, there's shit going up. Shit going up in fuego. So be careful if you want to move to Southern California. That's one of the things you have to deal with. Crime, hookers, all right, or women in general, earthquakes, and fire. Insurance ain't covering stuff. Yeah, they going to get up out of there, man. They like, we not covering this shit. All right, this too much right there. And shout out to the independent thinker in Normie Clothing, says CGA be dropping bars, young grasshopper. 6 figs is essential if you want to give yourself the occasional spoil. That's what we're going to talk about. Thank you for bringing this up. First class travel, a decent whip with the bells and the whistles, even philanthropic efforts and ventures. He says, like helping out a flatback with her JUCO books and stuff. He says, SO earn money. He says, I don't know what that means, but he says right here, to buy assets, to living the free agent lifestyle. You're going to need these things. All right, we're going to look and take a look at some of these things we're going to talk about here. And we're also going to talk about high achievers and mediocre people. Because there's people that just rather be mediocre, so they're part of the conversation too. Shout out to our brother here, Dark Side Foundation. I'm grabbing my popcorn for this one, Coach. Time to sound the alarm. The Mitch Slapper is here. I'm looking at signing up for the Money Mindset. I recently invested in some video editing software for my sports YouTube channel. I want my 2025 to be monumental, man, and it's going to take a grind. Be ready to grind. Especially today. We talked about content creation 2 weeks ago, and the window's getting tougher. All right. I think I just saw Stephen A. Smith. Was he celebrating 1 million subscribers on YouTube? I think it was. There was a clip they were talking about something else, and it said 1 million plus. So I was assuming that it was a YouTube 1 million plus, or Facebook or Instagram. And he relatively is a new YouTuber. He's a new YouTuber. However, he has a built-in audience, which makes it makes it a lot easier to get to 1 million, right? It's way harder for me to get to 1 million compared to a Stephen A. Smith. He's already have a built-in audience over 20 years on mainstream television. So for him to celebrate 1 million subscribers and him to realize how tremendous and hurdle that was to get to it, it really tells us how difficult it will be for us in the future when the majority of people now are watching people from the mainstream come to this platform and achieve that success in a relatively short amount of time. So now the deck is stacked up against us a little bit. Yeah, it's going to make it harder because, you know, you got built-in audience people coming in here, and the same thing happened to Instagram in about the year 2016 or 2017 when celebrities came up on Instagram. Shout out to Durrell. Is it Durrell? Durrell? We're going to call you Durrell. Just paying my tuition and dues for ninja watching. Shout out to you. I appreciate that, man. Look, I appreciate that. Yeah, so these people with large audiences already, when they come on here, yeah, it'll take them a little while to get the momentum and get favor in the algorithm. And, you know, their numbers will look like, oh, wow, he only has 200,000 subs. Well, then what'll happen is people will realize the familiar faces on there, and 6, 8 months, a year later, they'll be at 1 million. 1 million. But this is going to be, yes, the rhythm, the revel. All right, we got 2 other people in here. All right. Let me see here. Okay, shout out to you. I'm going to check that out, my brother Vans. All right. All right. This should be a great show. All right, I'm going to check. Okay, thank you, brother. All right, thank you, Vans. I appreciate you. We got 2 more. He didn't want me to read it out loud. He was giving me some info. And then Nathaniel. He says right here, hey, coach, shout out to you and the coach gang. Just showing some quick love, quick question about boundaries. If you can humor me, once you do business with a woman from a professional standpoint, should sex be 100% off the table? I would say yes, just to keep yourself safe. All right, but when the business relationship ends, then go ahead. But you have to realize she knows people you know. So if the relationship does go bad, that could interfere with the rest of your professional relationship. So just be careful. Just be careful. Look at Joy Taylor's situation. You know, it's just a muddy playground to play in. So you can't depend on that type of relationship to actually serve you well unless the relationship ends well. If it doesn't end well, then it could affect you down the line. I would just say, you know, I mean, when you're young, possibly, but as you get older, you realize why eating shit in the same place. Okay, you know, you're like, why do it? It's just going to complicate things in the future. And shout out to Jahari, says, stupid question, but why can't they use ocean water to put out the fires? All right, that actually would be a good question to ask someone that is very smart related to that. The problem would be, how do you get it to the fires? I mean, you would have to get helicopters to get the water over there to get it over to the fires, which most of the time that water is not close to where the fires are. Let me see here. And what is the salt concentration of ocean water? Okay, I'm not sure. I have no information as to if that's going to be possible. But I would say, it's the fires are nowhere near the ocean typically. All right, I would have said salty water, but it could be. All right, but typically it's not near each other. All right, the fires are normally away from the ocean, at least 30 minutes inland and that type of thing. And I don't know how you're going to be able to get that amount over there. Number one. Number two, I would say it's the salt content. Yeah, the salt content, not the contamination. The salt content of it probably would not be helpful. Probably would be more harmful. And then somebody says raw sewage on someone's house, animal life. That's probably a bunch of reasons why not to have it. Thank you for helping it. It says 3%. It's 3% salt concentration in the ocean water, which that is not a good mix. Plus, you have environmental issues related to that. You probably would have people probably upset about you using that type of strategy. And I don't think dumping salt water is only going to help. All right, so you probably might scoop up, some wildlife in the water. All right, you're scooping up fish and motherfucking sea lions. All right, dropping it on someone's house. My man said fish dookie. Right, there's a whole bunch of shit. You might scoop up a couple of sea lions. All right, like scoop. All right, and you're like, all right, let's drop it. Oh, there's a sea lion. Up. There's some thought into it. Goddamn shark, a baby shark, doo-doo, baby shark, all right, and you drop a baby shark in somebody's backyard. Yep, all your house rust, corrosion. Yeah, there's this. People probably have thought it through. That's probably why not to do it. All right, anyway. Yep, there you go. There was the answer right there. And again, thank you for the question because I didn't know it, but I knew they've never done it, and it probably was for a reason. All right, anyway, enough of that laughing at the issue there, but very important issue. Let's get into it. It's an evil world we live in, okay?
It's an evil world we live in.
Okay, it's the evil world we live in. Have you heard this? We knew she was a porn star, but the young girl named Camille Winbush from the television show Bernie Mac Show. Apparently, she had started up her OnlyFans career, and she had already been in porn. I did see a picture someone shared with me on Locals, and boy, that is one OnlyFans that I would not purchase. All right, that titty was not looking too good. And just judging from this right now, I have no interest at all in seeing anything she's putting out. However, it says actress Camille Winbush, known for her role in the legendary TV show The Bernie Mac Show, revealed that she earned $921,000 in her first week after launching her OnlyFans account. She says, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but it really did save us. I just hope you never find yourself in the position I was in, having to take care of 2 little kids," she said. And so Bernie Mac is rolling over in his grave right now.
You can talk about me all the fuck you want.
Yeah, that's what Bernie Mac is saying right there, man. And Bernie Mac, there she is from that somebody's daughter to getting naked, all right, as they call it, getting naked for the OnlyFans. Okay. So that's $1 million, essentially. It's not tax-free $1 million, but that's $1 million in 1 week to put that titty out there. And I don't know what else she's putting. I did see a titty, though. And I was like, no, thank you. All right, so what tends to happen is now she's like, I can't believe it. It saved me. She has 2 little girls. Did she say it's 2 little girls? Where's the daddy at? It says saved us. Does the 2 little kids, do they have fathers? Even if they have fathers, let's say she's married or has a baby daddy or something that they live with. There's your wife out there on OnlyFans, right? Selling to punani. Yeah, man, people just want to see people naked. They just have a curiosity. Now, can she continue this? How long can she continue this? Well, I don't know, but that's certainly a good head start. $1 million in a week. That's a good head start. She could just stop right there if she wanted to. All right, but she might double down. She might sit at the blackjack table and say, hit me, and keep going. She'll make a couple $1,000, all right, and she'll get the ball rolling. That saves us. Wow. Wow. All right, we got Louisiana Mayor It's an evil world we live in. The 25-year-old Louisiana mayor from Bogalusa, Louisiana, he was arrested in connection with drug and prostitution investigation, allegedly using the taxpayers' money to rent an Airbnb for a prostitute. All right. 25-year-old mayor. Louisiana and politics normally is some of the corrupt politics you can ever have. And it's good to see our black brothers doing well in politics and making a difference. Somebody said the YNs out here going crazy. Take a look at this. Let's listen to what happened there. All right. What Bogalusa?
This story and have more on the WUPL News at 6:30 and on the WWL Louisiana. This video is from just a few moments ago as Bogalusa Mayor Tyron Trung was released from jail.
And he looked happy too.
Niggas always gotta show they teeth.
All right. Yeah, he's suspect. And that whole town is suspect. And what the hell is Ricky Tan doing back there? What is on Ricky Tan's head? All right, this is a whole shit show. All right, I got to pull this shit up on the map. Where the hell is Bogalusa? All right, look at this light-skinned ninja over here.
Niggas always gotta show they teeth.
All right, yo, that's crazy, man. Using the taxpayer money to rent an Airbnb for one of his 304s.
He was arrested this morning on multiple charges after what officials call a months-long drug trafficking investigation.
Damn, they trafficking drugs. They got the whole city Nino Brown style. Trafficking drugs, running prostitutes, a whole house.
We'll continue to cover this story and have more on the WUPL News.
What's going on with the black politicians, man? What's going on with the black politicians? Is he a Democrat too? I bet you he's a Democrat. All right. They didn't even say his name. We just got the city of Bogalusa. Let me see here. Where is Bogalusa on the map? Let me see where the hell that is. All right. We have it here. Let's see if we can punch this up here. See if we can punch up Bogalusa, Louisiana. All right, let's see if we can join it on the screen here. Oh, it's close to Mississippi border. All right, where's that at here? I'm trying to see because I used to live in Baton Rouge, so I know a little bit of geography here. All right, I see Picayune over there. Okay, it's right on the border of Louisiana and the SIP. All right, there it is. It's really right there on the border of the SIP. Right there across that little bridge. That's right there. All right, I see it. All right, yeah. And it's in the middle of nowhere where really it's a shitty location. That's for sure. Yeah, that's out there. All right, Bogalusa. All right, setting the black folks back. Bogalusa. Bogalusa. All right, it's right there on the border, near a border town of the Mississippi. What the hell's going on out there? All right, I guarantee you that was a goddamn Red Roof Inn. All right, there can't be very legitimate hotels around there. All right, in Bogalusa. They have a Mexican restaurant in Bogalusa. They got 2 Mexican restaurants in Bogalusa. All right. I didn't realize it. And a Chinese restaurant. All right. There it is right there. They got the China Star, Maria's Mexican restaurant. And they got another one, Yo-Yo's Mexican restaurant. Okay. Yo-Yo running shut right there. They got a bar and grill right there. Bogalusa. All right. This is crazy over there. Okay. Do I have another video? All right. I guess that's the end of that right there. Let me see. Yeah, that's the end of that. That's the end of that segment.
It's an evil world we live in.
All right. Yes, indeed. What else do we got here? What else do we got to show you? We got some motivation and inspiration. Yes, indeed. So what do we got next? We got a clip somebody sent me from a TV show. It looks like a TV show with David Alan Grier. Right. Comedian David Alan Grier. So it's a TV show I've never seen. And perhaps are they getting some talking points from the Crimson Capsule, the Manosphere? I see a nice little red bone, light-skinned woman right there. Look at her. I see her. Let's see what this guy says here.
Point is, successful people cheat. That's a reality, all right? Let's break this down by income. If a man makes less than $50,000 a year, that man probably faithful. But if he makes like 50 to 100 grand, that means he thinks about it, but he won't act on it. That's me. You got nothing to worry about that. What? 100 grand to $500,000 means he's definitely cheating. And then anything over $500,000 just means his wife knows his mistress by name. So like I said,
He's right. Any man who gives his wife a car with a big bow on it is probably cheating. Oh. Those Lexus Christmas commercials are darker than you think.
the point is successful people.
All right, so you hear this right here. This is definitely a case of what I've called
straight jacket.
What I've called, and people cannot deny this, and I'm not going to say they took it from me, but this is definitely a case of what I say. The mainstream has taken the manosphere and taken some of the talking points that were once controversial, and now they have taken it to the mainstream. This is a classic example of that. Whereas before 2020, they would never have taken that type of content to the mainstream. When you see Instagram, when you see Facebook, the stuff that you're seeing was stuff that we were getting banned for and shadow banned for and demonetized for in 2019 into 2020. We were getting demonetized, shadow banned. I can't even grow channels no more. I can't even get monetization on YouTube. I see people do this on Instagram all day. All right, all day. And they could grow a following. They could get hundreds of thousands of likes. I put the same type of content out on my Instagram. At best, I'm going to get 2,000 likes because I'm supremely shadow banned. Now, what they've done is, with the rise of Kevin Samuel into 2021, now this, because they're saying the red pill's dead, and in a sense it is, because the peak main red pill is dead. Right, the red pill is still alive, if you will, but the peak red pill is dead. That rise is already gone. That was the crest. So now what they've done to further try to squash the red pill is say there's nothing left of it. But the problem is they're not acknowledging is that the points that were made in the red pill are mainstream. Like that's when people say the red pill is dead, what they have to admit is that now everything the red pill stood for and made, all the talking points are now mainstream. So that there's really no need for the red pill, in a sense, to invite new people. Because new people aren't going to hear this over and over again and hear us go further. They're like, okay, we already heard what you said, Myron. We already heard what you said, CGA. We already heard what you said, Andrew Tate. We already heard what you said, Kevin Samuels. We already heard what you said. Yeah, okay. Now, the further we go into the red pill, if you will, they're like, that's too much. We don't want that. So now what they've said is, all right, we'll see the fact that 70% of women file for divorce. We'll take that. We'll take that Kevin Samuels, high value men can exercise their options. We'll take that. Right? And they'll just start taking the little points that we made and then throw it on the mainstream. So that's where we're at. Yep. That's where we're at. And this is what I see happening here. So now these aren't red pill talking points. These are widely accepted critiques between relationships. So, yep, they cherry picked it. They sucked it dry. They left what they didn't want over here. We're still shadow banned and demonetized. And now everybody's taking the basic points and running with them. So this is an example, even on what looks like a CBS television show. Right. And now they sold it and now they can claim it as their own, still discarding the rest of us. So when they say the red pill's dead or the alpha male sphere or whatever they want to call it, the manosphere, what they're saying is we've strip mined it and we took what we wanted and we've left the carcass behind. Right. Which is the remains. Like we're just trying to still survive, saying the same thing over and over again. Yep.
Point is successful people cheat. That's a reality, all right? Let's break this down by income. If a man makes less than $50,000 a year, that man probably faithful. But if he makes like 50 to 100 grand, that means he thinks about it, but he won't act on it. That's me.
Yeah, see, this is just, it's a little disappointing for me to see because, I'm probably one of the people that have said such things and I was widely panned. and shadow banned and censored for it, right? And people thought I was crazy. But now they can jump up on here, say it in a comedic way and laugh at it, but then acknowledge its truth in the middle of it. This would not run in 2019, right? But now we can widely throw this out there in a monologue and have people laugh at it. And then, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And even have an older person just acknowledge it as fact, right? Yeah, it just makes sense. He says this show was canceled. It's not a surprise. All those shows get canceled. All right, but here's the thing. All of these shows, producers and writers, they watch us. This is what we're saying. They've watched us, and I can confirm it. I've had people from these talent agencies and casting agencies contact me directly, right? They've contacted me directly. I've had conversations as early as 2019 with people in that industry. So they're watching us, right? The writers, those so-called writers and all of these people, the actors, the comedians, they're watching us. So, and people often think that's not true, but it's true, right? It certainly is true. And they take their little talking points and they run over to their Hollywood meeting and they put it up in there and so forth and so on. It's crazy. But now, you know, that's what happened. That's why it's somewhat dead, because people have tried to come in here and just take those talking points and ride the algorithm. And then now for me to say, I'm going to say something similar today related to that, but I'm just showing you how they're using that in the industry. And there's going to be more in the movies. You're going to see all of that shit more in the movies. Yeah, that's what you're going to see.
You got nothing to worry about that. What? 100 grand to $500,000 means he's definitely cheating. And then anything over $500,000 just means his wife knows his mistress by name. So like I said,
He's right. Any man who gives his wife a car with a big bow on it is probably cheating. Oh. Those Lexus Christmas commercials are darker than you think.
Ha 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 ha. Very much a Lee slapper. All right. But when it makes normie content, it's in the relationship conversation, and it can no longer be denied. They've done that. Shout out to them right there. All right. Appreciate that video somebody sent me. Let me catch up on some support if there's any. And then guess what? We're going to keep moving along. We're getting closer to the main event today. Yeah. All right. There are a couple of supporters. I appreciate all my supporters. All right. You make these shows continue to go on. I'm getting emails and shit like that. All right. Let's see here. All right. What's going on? My SoundCloud. Something happened with my upload of my podcast. Podcasts are being uploaded again, thanks to my assistant being back on the job, off of vacation. Shout out to Jamie or Jaime Torres with the co-sponsorship, sir. He says, thanks, coach, for your discipline on keeping the show going every day. Now my son, who is 17, is listening to you, which I know he will benefit from your message. Much respect to you, coach. Shout out to you. Salute to your son listening to me. And son, you're getting advanced knowledge in dynamics, relationship dynamics, in the mindset of grown men. And I know it's gonna sound weird, and I know you might not be getting this information from your public school indoctrination camp, but you'll get the information here. And iron sharpens iron. So thank you for being here, and thanks to your pops for having you sit in on these lessons. Someone once asked me, how old should a young man be before they start listening to this information? And I said, however old that young man is, the first time these women start telling his ass to be a simp. All right? As soon as women start telling them, the way that a woman's heart is pulling out chairs and putting coats over puddles and paying for banana splits, this is how you treat a lady. That's as early as he should be getting this information. Okay, so whenever that is, you start pulling dude to the side and say, this is what you do. You pull out her chair, you make a funny note, and that's when you start telling his ass. All right, start listening to CGA. Okay, because otherwise he gonna be 2-3 years in being completely misled Talking about give her some chocolates and teddy bears and shit. All right. That's how early. So if they want to go ahead and get a head start on they bullshit, because let me tell you, man, how many of us did all of that? Opening doors and pulling chairs and putting coats over puddles and doing all this, writing poems. All right, guess what? Most of us didn't get a damn thing. We didn't get nothing out of it. Most of us got a pat on the head, and then we seen her over there doing with the other ninja, and we was trying to explain ourselves how this happened. All right, anyway, that's how early a man should be able to get this information, so we don't have this man out here being led astray with the blind leading the blind. Shout out to Monk Dan. Monk D-A-N, catching up on your morning show. I'm in northern snowy mountains of Wyoming, and I will definitely purchase a robot. I will pay. He says this will only give me a reason to stay Monk free agent lifestyle for life. Are you in the, are you near Jackson Hole? Are you in that area, northern Wyoming? I know it gets cold there. You might only get about 2 months of 2 months of season, okay, to float the river and all of that. Harem King says, hey, coach, when's the CGA toy review channel coming? We need to break the glass ceiling, making it culturally appropriate and acceptable for men to benefit from the robots. Everybody's hooked on the robots today. All right, you guys are going to get me in trouble. You know that's a sticking point. You know, if I say that too many times, they're going to clip me saying that, and then they're going to be like, CGA promotes robots, and not, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be the guy. I'm not going to be the poster child. The Real Fit Style said, because look, you got to realize there's people on the fucking borderline of what I'm saying. They're almost in. They're almost sold. They hear me promoting robots, they're gone. All right? They're like, okay. The nigga went too far. So you got to be careful with that. If y'all want to do it, y'all can do it. I'm going to be at the JUCO. All right, so, anyway. All right, The Real Fit Style says, coach, I believe that feminism has been such a great gift to single men with their life together. There's no other time in history when we've had this freedom to do whatever we want without the requirement of long-term relationships and marriages. This is true too for the men who accept it, but you have to realize, right, The Real Fit Style, there's men that want to be in the matrix, right? They are begging. There's men and begging and pleading, beg and plead to the symphony. There's men out here begging to be on the matrix. They begging to be on the plantation. Okay, so it's freed us to be able to do what we want to do. Like, you know, there's some men that get pressured into getting into a relationship, but I think it's widely known that men, you know, they will be passport bros. Men can say, I don't want to get married. Where 5-10 years ago, you said that, there was something wrong with you. But yes. We're getting to that point where it has certainly freed us, but men are begging to be back. All right. And you guys got little leverage going back onto the plantation. Some men don't want to be free because they don't know what to do with themselves. Yep. They don't know what to do with themselves. So they just like, I'll take it. I'll take my chances. Sucker for Love Ninja says, coach, I made it. I'm a 6-figure brother in Southern California. Where can I find a blonde-haired, pink-toed Kaylee in Orange County? Oh, wait. Wrong sound effect. Asking for a friend. Oh, boy. There's plenty of places. Go down to Newport Beach, Laguna Hills, San Clemente. All right. I missed it down there. I wish they all could be California girls. All right. Costa Mesa. All right. They down there. Agora Hills, Calabasas. Calabasas is kind of hood now. They ruined Calabasas. All right. I remember when it was a 1-horse town. All right. Now Calabasas is they fucked it up. All right. But yeah, they all over the place. You can get you some flatbacks out there ready to go. Sucker for Love Ninja. We got like 2 more. 007. This year, this must be the year of L's for BWs. Starting with Kamala Harris, Fonnie Willis, Letitia James, the mayor of Los Angeles, the FBI special agent in New Orleans, and all of the WNBA. Who is the next to get to next big fat L, all right, of the black females? Apparently, the Melissa Ford is getting dragged in the mud. I haven't really figured out what's going on with her. She used to be a video vixen model, all right. Apparently, she's getting dragged in the mud. Nobody's safe out here. All right. Nobody's safe out here. Who's the next one up? And last one, and I'm going to get back to the show. Ricky Tan ass ninja. Coach, you are pure comedy gold. You should be recognized with the greatest comedic ninjas of all time. Oh, come on. Your name should be mentioned with Chappelle and Eddie Murphy. In my book, I'm glad I'm giving you some laughs. That's heavy company. I'm still trying to catch up to Patrice O'Neal. I'm still trying to catch up with Corey Holcomb. These are the greats of, you know, Corey Holcomb's a legend in our space, comedian wise. I'm trying to catch up, but I definitely am putting to shame a lot of other comedians. They not funny no more. It's hard to be funny. It's hard to be funny today, but the reason why I can be funny is there's no holds barred over here. All right. I don't have the nanny goat. I don't have the liberals. I don't have the Hollywood affiliation. I can just let it loose over here. I can say what's on my mind. All right. And there's no holds barred. The comedians today, the Ricky Gervaises, even your boy, the other great guy, there's a white guy that's hella funny. I can't remember his name, but I've watched him many, many times. Bill Burr. All right. These people still have a little bit of handcuffs. You know, they really can't say what they want to say. All right. But just imagine this. And I challenge any celebrity to this. I challenge any celebrity. This is how good, you know, you're saying I should be up in the category of these people, which I appreciate. But I'm going to tell you this. While I don't agree that I should be up with those people, I'll take that. What I'm going to tell you is I challenge any comedian in Hollywood, Kevin Hart. And this is why when y'all try to talk to me about these goofy ass red pill content creators, I'm so above these people. I don't even see them as competition. All right. I'm not even competing with anybody on fucking YouTube. All right. I'm challenging the industry. This is where I'm at. I challenge anyone, and some of you guys are listening to me. You might act like you ain't listening, but I challenge any industry comedian for 1 month straight to do what I'm doing and be as funny. That goes for you, Chris Rock, brother. That goes for any industry comedian that thinks they're better and funnier than CGA. I challenge you to jump on, and I'll give you 30 days. 30 days you can quit. No writers, no motherfucking writers on the monologue, no planning, nothing. I challenge you to be as funny as me and with critical thinking for 30 days straight. I guarantee you they cannot motherfucking do it. I'll guarantee you. For hours, I guarantee you there's not many of them that can do it. And here's the thing. I know you guys got your bootlickers, all right? And so your bootlickers or fans are going to come over here and tell you how funny you are, but they're only talking about how funny you used to be. And they're going to come over there and give you phony laughs and ha, ha, ha. And you guys are going to, your bootlicking fans are going to say how great you are and who's CGA. I know it. But can you be as funny as me on a regular basis, day in and day out? I guarantee you can't, all right? Hulk Hogan, you can't do that. Twice a day, off the dome. I'm telling you, I challenge any industry comedian. That goes for the Wayans brothers, all of you. You can't do that. Patrice O'Neal could do it, but all right, Chris Rock is like, hey, man, I'm Coach Gang. He was Coach Gang at some particular point. Yeah, Bill Burr, he could do it. Patrice O'Neal, Corey Holcomb could do it. All right, I know those guys could do it. Chris Rock, you know, if he had a chance, but he's got too many writers. You know, he's got too many people. I don't think they could do it. There's too many people they couldn't do it. So anyway, all right, anyway, I challenged them. Shout out to Ricky Tan with the compliment. I'll do 2 more and get on back with the show. Godfrey has, here's the other thing. Here's the other criteria. No co-hosts. No straight men, meaning like there's nobody that you're going to be able to bounce off the joke and use as the straight and you be the funny. You guys know what I'm talking about in the industry. All right, where the person could be the comedic fodder. They could be the straight person where they could come with the regular talking point and you can bounce the goddamn comedy off of him. And you can have the female assistant. No co-hosts, no female co-host, no guests, just you. Just you. See, Godfrey has a straight guy. And the straight guy is that bald-headed big nigga on the show. And he always has a female co-host. See, Godfrey's cheating. That's cheating. It needs to only be you. I'm the only one here. Okay? You got to be solo. Can you be funny by yourself day in and day out? Ricky Smiley can't do it. He got 3 jokes. Ricky Smiley got 3 jokes. That Ricky Smiley is a clown. He can't do what I'm doing. Because that nigga be put on his glasses. What is he going to do? Play the old lady again? He's going to play the old lady. Ricky Smiley can't do it. Eddie Griffin can do it. Eddie Griffin can do it. All right, for sure. All right. Tariq Nasheed can do it too. There's some people that can do it. I respect them. All right. Ricky Smiley can't do it. Eddie Griffin can do it. I think he would be funny as hell. All right. But anyway. Ricky Smiley he was funny in like 1999 on Comic View. Yeah, anyway. I challenged him. No government aim, PJ. Keep the show going. Long-time listener, first-time contributor, locals member, and working on the money mindset. Keep saving lives out here. Salute. That's a co-sponsorship. I'm rich, bitch. All right, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Ari Spears. I'm going to say no to Ari Spears. Although he's a funny dude. But again, Ari Spears needs someone to bounce jokes off of. He needs someone else. He can almost not be funny by himself. And the way I know it is I follow him on Instagram. And I met Ari Spears in person a long time ago. He doesn't remember this. I respect him. But I don't think he could do this day in and day out. I don't think he has the work ethic to be funny because most of the time he gets too passionate about his political leanings, which are almost inevitably so damn horrible and wrong. All right. All right. That I don't think Ari Spears could do it. He might be able to do it, but he would need somebody else. I don't think he has the work ethic. All right. But he used to be on Mad TV. He is a funny dude, but I don't think he can. He doesn't have the stamina. Jump on here twice a day, 8 hours. He'll be like, I ain't doing all that. And he'll bow out. He'll probably do it like 3 or 4 times and then he would dip. He don't have the work ethic. So he's funny. He say some funny shit, but I don't think he has the stamina. I don't think he could do what I'm doing. All right, just to say, I'm calling people out. He definitely can't do it. All right, yeah. He said no alcohol or no weed. But he's a funny sketch comedian and that type of shit. All right, but sometimes his jokes are hit or miss. So you got to deal with that. JC says that's what happens when you're a creator. Art, music, content, it doesn't matter. You will be copied, and plagiarized, and that's what it is. And I guess I have to take that as a sign of respect. 100%. But yeah, man, so shout out to the other guys that think I'm competing against them. Again, I'm going to say this again. There's nobody in the red pill space I'm competing with. There's nobody that I'll look at and be like, oh, I want to be like them. Right? Or I wish I had what they had. Or why they got so many subs. Nobody in the red pill. Nobody. And the top dogs 2 months ago, 2 years ago, is literally sinking. There's nobody. None of the top dogs are top dog no more. Right? So people that were like out of the gate, running out of the gate, just skyrocketing with subscribers and shit, none of them are at the top no more. Including Fresh and Fit. They ain't even on the same fucking show no more. Right? They on the same channel with different shows. So, like, they're not even in the same goddamn studio at the same time. So they were the top dog. So was Andrew Tate. So was Kevin Samuels. Like, all these guys were the top dogs. They're no longer the top dog anymore. So there's nobody literally that I'm looking at going, if I can be like them one day, none. Pearl, same thing. So I'm still just in the league of my own. As far as I'm concerned, y'all don't have to think that. I'm in a league of my own. All right, I'm doing my own shit. That includes PUAs and dating coaches and whoever the fuck you want to put in there. I'm in a league of my own. Like, none of them people that was out there like, wow, they are got 1 million and we want to be like them. I don't want to be like none of them motherfuckers. Right? There's nothing they got that I'm chasing. And that includes then everybody else below that, then below me. There's nobody in this space that I'm chasing. He said he died. Look, we're talking about pure fact. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's me, and I'm in a league of my own. So it doesn't matter. Right. So when I'm talking, he says, what about so-and-so? Why would I look up to somebody with no experience? There's nobody I'm competing against in this space. Nobody. I don't look at anybody in this space that I'll look at and go, I want what they have. And the only thing that might make the difference to you is like they got more subscribers. But when I press the live button, I'm smoking the motherfuckers, lapping them. All right. So there's nobody in this space that I'm competing with. There's zero that I look at and I go, oh, wow. If I can emulate what they're doing, nothing. Nobody I watch that I look and go, I got to be like them one day. Zero. All right. But I do respect my brother Angry Man. So peace up to him. So my aim and look is completely past this space in every fucking sense of the imagination. So please keep that in mind. All right. Please keep that in mind when you're talking about who's who in this space. I don't look at anybody as anywhere close to me. And then you talk about knowledge and information and debating. There's no motherfucking body in this space in terms of what I need to find out, that I need to watch on a daily basis, that I need to see what they're doing. Zero. So don't come compare them to me and ask me what the fuck they're doing. I don't know who the hell they are. I'm not even paying attention. All right. So anyway, just to be honest, I thought they'd have to tell people that because people are surprised about that. Like, what? There's nobody. All right. So anyway, I'm focused way past them. I'm like looking at what other YouTubers are doing. Yeah, let's get into this part of the show. And I hate to toot my whole horn here, but I have to throw the gauntlet out and challenge people sometime. We got this right here. Check this out. Let's get into this part of the conversation let's get into the money conversation. These are some blue chips. All right, these are some blue chips. Let's get into some blue chips right here. Listen to this, guys. If you're struggling at the position you're in right here.
I don't understand.
This is a 16, this is a young black male. I don't know. He does look like he has a Department of Corrections uniform on. All right. And looks like he's going to get scolded by a judge for fighting his 16-year-old sister over a phone charger. Listen to this.
I don't understand what's wrong with young people today. You're bringing nothing to the table. You don't have your GED. Public education is free. And as I tell everybody, people come over here from other countries, don't even speak English language. And the next thing you know, that person is the valedictorian of your school or first in your class because other people don't want to take advantage of the free opportunities that you have here. Slaves were not allowed to read or write. And they ended up sometimes to their detriment, to their death, learning how to read and write. And here you are with free education and you don't take advantage of it. All you're doing is hanging around with your hoodlum friends. They're not up to anything. You're not up to any good. You're at the Bexar County Jail. I don't know why you get an attitude with me because I'll give you 180 days at the state jail facility to give you a little taste of what it is.
Shit.
Trying to injure your sister who's only 16 over a phone charge that probably neither one of you paid for. Look at you now. You're in an orange uniform, no education, and now you're going to be on paper and you're going to have this felony following you around wherever you go.
Damn. And so look, white supremacy. It's the system. It's institutional racism. Actually, it's a phone charger. And he doesn't look like he's in good shape here. All right, definitely looks like he has some sickle cell or something. All right, he has some sickle cell. He has definitely some problems here. He's got to grow into his face. I'm not sure what's going on here. But this is one of these situations where we're finding that while people are getting leg up information that I was talking about earlier, young people are getting information at 15 and 16 and 17 that many of us are getting at 30, 35, 40, and even 45. This young man is already being set back, whereas other people are getting information that it takes many of us 10 years, 20 years of grinding to finally get that realization. We're finally going to get this realization and we finally know it. But we'll blame everything else. The system around us, we'll blame the school system, we'll blame everybody. But many times it's us making these mistakes, critical mistakes. And when people even try to put people up on game, they even try to shut down this sister, this judge that said, I can put you on 180 days. Right now, you got a felony. You got paper on you. You're part of the penal code. You're part of the system now. And I don't know if he's a minor, but he's part of the system. He must not be a minor if he was going to get 180 days in the county. But who's looking out for this young man? Obviously not his parents. His parents wouldn't have himself in the situation for fighting his sister. He must have put her in the Cobra clutch. But this is a reality. She's saying people coming to this country, stepping ahead of you, not barely knowing any English with any education at all. You can't even get your GED in free public education. Free. And people get past this point well into their 30s, and then they want to blame everything else. Blame everybody else for their situation when they had the opportunity. You had the opportunity. So let's take advantage of the opportunity. Let's not make excuses for the position we're in. Otherwise, you definitely have to look at some of the things we're chasing, some of the situations we put ourselves in.
Understand what's wrong with young people today. You're bringing nothing to the table. You don't have your GED. Public education is free. And as I tell everybody, people come over here from other countries, don't even speak English language. And the next thing you know, that person is the valedictorian of your school or first in your class because other people don't want to take advantage of the free opportunities that you have here.
I mean, nothing can explain that. How do you explain that? How do you explain out of that? How do you justify going, oh, the reason why they are better at us, why they're smarter, why they get better grades, why they're valedictorian? Meanwhile, you've been here the entire time. You've somewhat mastered the English language enough to compete. But then you have people come over here, don't even know the language. They see an opportunity and they come in there and they trump you. Not only that, they figure out how to buy real estate in your community, and you bought none. You bought none. But we find other ways to try to find ourselves in a situation where we've been disadvantaged. Okay? But that's a straight up fact, what she's telling them. So as men, we got to understand, hey, it's on us. A lot of us don't have other men around us to show us this. And even if you do have a man over there, he's still telling you you're oppressed. He's trying to convince you. He's trying to convince you you're disenfranchised and disadvantaged But how can you be more disadvantaged than a person that came over here that didn't have anything and know anything? It's too real. It's too real. So we don't let people come over here with that simple excuse. We realize and acknowledge there's been tragedies done against certain people, and certain people do have way more obstacles to overcome. But how do you have less obstacles? Sorry, how do you have more obstacles than somebody that's over here that don't even know English? All right, how? All right, but you'll do it. You'll continue to do it and continue to try to come to my show and convince us of that. And we're not going for it. We refuse to accept this. We refuse to accept this, and we don't claim it. So then we have to find another way to beat this. How do we beat this? How do we beat this mindset? Well, chapter 3 of the Free Agent Lifestyle book says, don't box yourself in. Don't box yourself in. All right, so the next one right here, this is a little bit of inspiration for you. If you missed the earlier part of the show, I am not a motivational coach. I am an inspirational coach at best, but I'm going to tell it like it is. We deal with the facts and feelings live stream, and that's what we do on Wednesdays. We just kick the facts. We don't give a fuck about your feelings. With this being said, since I'm not a motivational coach and I'm not somebody, I'm going to tell you when you about to get your ass kicked. All right, that should be enough motivation. You should be bringing motivation to life. You should wake up motivated. And if you ain't motivated, that's your motherfucking problem. But this is the game of life. And if you agree to participate in it, your job is to at least bring motivation. Now, inspiration is another source to where I can show you something that you might not have known that maybe inspire you. But I never have claimed to be a motivational coach. Even when I was in the coaching profession, I never was a motivational coach. All right, I'll inspire you. I'll try to tell you what I know, and I'll also tell you what you're up against. It's up to you, okay? It's up to you. This guy says right here, making your first million means, you're not going to agree with this. Making your first million means becoming a whole new person. A whole new person. Can you make millions and stay the same person you were? Let's say you were black. Most of the time, if you want to be in the millionaire category, you might have to put that to the side. You might have to be your own race, your own ethnicity, your own class. You can make up your own ethnicity, by the way. Okay? You can make up your own group of own ethnicity and own beliefs. Like, for instance, the free agent lifestyle at some point is ethnicity. Right? We got our own culture, our own mores, our own traditions, our own way of life. We are our own ethnicity. So at this point right here, our own belief system, our own structure, making your first millions means you have to become a whole new person. Your person of the past has to die. All right.
First million is hard, but the second million is inevitable. It's not becoming a millionaire that's important. It's the person that you must become in order to become a millionaire. Yeah. You have to become a completely different person. You have to develop character beyond 99% of the people in the world. You have to develop honesty and discipline and quality relationships and the willingness and the ability to work and set priorities and all kinds of stuff, because without that, nothing is possible.
Without that, nothing is possible. Now, somebody asked me earlier today, Coach, are you becoming and I can't remember the word he said. It's something like a posh or something like that. Well, let's just say this. The person I was 8 years ago should not be the person I am today. You must evolve. You can't stay the same. So as you start to move up in whatever realm, status, money, looks, position in life, competition, whatever you're doing in your job, you can't be the same person you were 8 years ago. You got to start seeing yourself as someone different. And people got to accept to see that your growth and maturity takes you to that level. If you're the same person you were 8 years ago, that's a bad testimony related to you. That's a horrible testimony. People should be able to say, hey, I like where you were 8 years ago. Today, I don't like it. Why? Because I don't accept that the person you become. CGA, you become a different person. I should have become a different person. I shouldn't be the exact same person in the exact same place 8 years later. I should be able to adapt to a new circumstance in order to achieve whatever I'm trying to achieve. That is critical. You must do that. But people will consider that as negative. Oh, wow. Why are you trying to be that? That's not a negative. That was something that I aspired to be, so I became that. You have to be that. You have to do that, or else you're going to go backwards. You're not going to stay in the same place. You're actually going backwards because the world is changing in front of you as well. Okay? The same people you met and talked to 10 years ago shouldn't be the same people you hanging around 10 years later, especially if you age from 25 to 35. It requires you to be a different person. It requires you to be a different person.
So once you earn your first million, then you are the person who can earn a lot of money. And the second million it's never easy. Never easy, but it's easier. The first million is really hard. The second million, not so much.
All right. The second million, not so much. Now, people will hear that and say, well, Coach, now everybody could be a millionaire. Well, you certainly ain't with that mindset. Then you might say, well, I don't want to be a millionaire. All right. Well, don't be one then. All right. I'm not convincing you to be a millionaire. I'm not even convincing you to be 100,000-aire. Or certainly, if that's what your mindset is, you're not here for the blue chip mindset. And you never were here for the right reason. People don't realize that this has been a quest that I've been on since I wrote the book. Right there in the first chapter, I described what I was ascending to, what I was attempting to do. And that was even before I thought YouTube was a possibility. I still was trying to pursue that. All right. I wasn't even doing YouTube really full time at the point where I wrote the first book, neither the second book. I was still working a other job and doing YouTube content. And I never really thought that I was going to make millions of dollars on YouTube. All right. I was still making a couple of $1,000s a month on AdSense. And then I got demonetized after the release of both books. So never thought that would be the case. But if you don't want to be it, don't be it, right? Don't be it. We're not trying to force you to be there, but what we're going to tell you just in a bit is that you about to get cooked in this market that's going to hit you in the 5 years. All right, we're going to show you the numbers. We're going to show you the numbers. Let's take you to Will Smith. Don't shoot the messenger, or you can separate the message from the messenger. But I want you to listen to what this guy's going to say about what it takes to go from good to great. What it takes to go from good to great. All right. Because there's some people out here. Actually, before we do the good from great, let's take a look at Nick Saban and talk about mediocre people versus high achievers. Mediocre people versus high achievers. You got to realize some people are comfortable being mediocre. Some people are very comfortable being average. And average people love to see high achievers as negative. Even if high achievers don't achieve what they set out to get, the mediocre person will tell the high achiever, settle for less, as opposed to push for more. Now, these are two philosophies. If you're a mediocre person, shout out to you. I'm a high achiever. I've always tried to achieve as much as I possibly could. Trying not to leave money on the table. But mediocre people, most of the time, will convince a high achiever to accept less. You don't need all that. You don't need to do all that. That is a mediocre person's job. And they will say, I can live off less. I can live off $3,000 a month. I don't know why you would want to, but a mediocre person will typically do that. But let's hear Nick Saban talk about the difference between mediocre people and high achievers. All right, I preach high achieving.
Mediocre people don't like high achievers, and high achievers don't like mediocre people. So if everybody doesn't buy into the same principles and values of the organization at the same high standard, you're never going to be successful. Mediocre people don't like high achievers, and high achievers don't like mediocre people. So if everybody doesn't buy into the same principles and values of the organization at the same high standard, you're never going to be successful.
All right. So our organization is the Free Agent Lifestyle. A lot of people still don't see that, even though the channel, the podcast, the book, I do have a lot of continuity between the message, which the overriding thing, you're on a channel called the Free Agent Lifestyle. Then you're on a channel that has a book sold called the Free Agent Lifestyle. Then you see that there's videos and podcasts related to the Free Agent Lifestyle. Still, people will completely disassociate that as the goal, as the organization, as the umbrella. And they'll still be stuck on relationships and women, which the majority of my content is related to that, because it's related to the overwhelming message of the Free Agent Lifestyle, that those things tend to bump you away from your ultimate goal of success. So that message is critical to get men to understand that that is the one thing you focus on, and that is the one thing that takes you away from living the Free Agent Lifestyle. The overriding message is the Free Agent Lifestyle, right? What is that? Well, some people don't even know what that is. They haven't even dived into it. Okay? They haven't even dived into it. They haven't even got the book. They haven't, and then when you sell the book for $12, they think it's, oh, why you grifting, right? So they're having a problem accepting what the overriding message is. They think this is about women and dating. This is about what you're trying to become. Then when I show you and live it and show it, you think I'm bragging. Why are you bragging? I'm not bragging. I'm telling you about the organization. The Free Agent Lifestyle is the message. So when I tell you this is what I'm looking to achieve, high achiever, Free Agent Lifestyle, that's the message. It ain't about dating and women and how bad women are. Now, that's de-evolution. But we're talking about what you can achieve, what your possibilities are. What is the route to get there? People still can't figure that out. They have not connected the two yet. Now, that's because you're here to hear me bag on women. But you also have found me talking about men. When I talk about men, what do you say? I'm ranting. When I talk about women, I'm preaching. You see what I'm talking about? This is where men haven't made the connect. So I'm bragging when I show you the lifestyle. But that is the lifestyle. You hear the word lifestyle in the message. Free Agent Lifestyle. A lifestyle is supposed to be lived and shown, which is the ultimate goal. With that being said, that requires you to be a high achiever. It never was meant for you to be mediocre. A Free Agent Lifestyle was meant to be pursued as a high achieving task, not to be mediocre. With that being said, this is why I don't like mediocre people. The minute you come to the show called the Free Agent Lifestyle and tell us to be mediocre, it doesn't match. It doesn't match. It doesn't match the message. Why would I tell you as a Free Agent Lifestyle person to what I told you to do in the book to be mediocre? It doesn't match. So when you come in here and any conversation you have that attains to mediocre living, it doesn't match what I'm teaching you. It doesn't match the philosophy. This is what Saban is saying. How the hell can we preach success and Free Agent Lifestyle and you're telling me be mediocre? Live off $3,000 a month. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? You're not getting it. You still can't put two and two together. The Free Agent Lifestyle is meant to be a high achieving lifestyle. It's not to be mediocre, living in the woods, dropping out, giving up, quitting. It is to pursue something that is greater than yourself or greater than you thought you were capable of living. When you bring mediocrity to the Free Agent Lifestyle channel, it is a mismatch. It doesn't match what I'm teaching you. It doesn't match what I'm trying to show you. Okay, let's see it again. Let's hear it again.
Mediocre people don't like high achievers, and high achievers don't like mediocre people. So if everybody doesn't buy into the same principles and values of the organization and the same high standard, you're never going to be successful.
And to an extent, the amount of men that require me to reach back to your goofy, mediocre ass only makes us less likely to be successful. However, I got to let some of y'all, Mitches, and you Larrys, drown. We got to let you drown. We got to let you not achieve success for the rest of us. We got to leave you behind, even if it's less viewers, less subscribers. I'm at the point where that doesn't matter to me. All right. It's like, well, okay. All right. That doesn't matter because we want the people that can accept the message and not try to argue the message. There was a guy earlier trying to argue that your rant about being successful. Yay. You don't get it. And you never will. If that's where your problem is, your message doesn't match. What you're trying to get me to do is to be mediocre and accept that as success. We can't preach that over here. Even if you say not everybody will be successful, cool. Stay your ass over there and be mediocre. If you want to be mediocre, I have no problem with it. But Nick Saban says it's okay to not like mediocre people if you're a high achiever. Fine. Stay over there. But that's not what we're telling you. Even if you are a high achiever and it takes you 10 years, 20 years, that's still okay. But what we're going to not tell you is living off $3K a month is acceptable. We ain't telling you that. And I'm going to tell you, at my brokest, when I was living in my car, I was still making more than $3,000 a month. I could never, all right? When I was living in my car, I was making $3K a month. Now, try to make that make sense. That's where you're really going to have a problem. You're like, what, coach? I don't understand. See, you don't understand. You're not listening. The reason why I was living in my car was not because I didn't have any money. It was because the way the money was being distributed and the reason why I was starting my business, I didn't have that money to be able to be consumed with living expenses. So I went into my car to consume those expenses and use them towards my business. Okay. Then the second part of it was I was going through the divorce and a lot of my money was going back to the old house. And I couldn't afford to have 2 residences. So I had to live in the car. But I was still making good money. I was making about $6,000 a month living in my car. So just because you're living in your car doesn't mean you don't have any money. But I had to do that to be able to get to the next level. I said, if I don't, that money that I had is going to get consumed and I'm going to be in the same place for 10 years. So I had to step back, take that money, hold on to it for 3 to 6 months so I can get to the next level. But I don't remember a time where I made under $3,000 a month and accepted it. All right. I just am not that person. And I will never tell you to be that person. Okay. Never tell you to be that person. But I needed to take that step. So it wasn't that I went broke. It was just that, oh shit. Okay. The money's going to get consumed in living expenses and rent. And I got a property over here where my ex-wife and kids are living the majority of time. I got to pull back. Hold these resources like this, distribute them towards my business and pursue the clients. And I did it for 6 months. Best decision I ever made. All right. Best decision I ever made, because without it, I would have consumed myself. So think about this when I tell you, these stories make sense when you put it all together, but a lot of people still ain't listening. Let's talk about Will Smith. This is a situation where he's saying now the difference between good and great, because a lot of people will go for mediocre, but a lot of people will think good is good enough. But then people that are doing good enough will want to be great. Here's the problem. The difference between good and great requires you, again, like Brian Tracy said, the difference between good and great requires you to become a different person. You can't go from good and great and be the same person.
Between 90% and 100% is lifetimes of difference. The difference between a good player and a great player is light years. It's like, you know, my son was a chronic B student. And he would get B's all the time. And he was like, Dad, you know, it's just, I really could get A's, you know, if I wanted to. And I was like, nigga, I promise you, you can't.
Believe in yourself.
I promise you can't. You think that the difference between a B and an A is the same as the difference between a C and a B. Nigga, it's not. It's not. Right? It's like you might have to eat differently. Like you might have to change friends. You might have to study sleep, you know, to get from B's to A's. It's like the difference between good and great, it is underestimated by most humans.
Let's stop right there. Y'all still distracted. You see that? Men are still distracted. They're not even hearing the message. Can't even hear the message. Don't get distracted. I want you to listen to what he's saying because he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. The difference between 50K and 100K, you a different person. The difference between 100K and 500K a year is a different person. The difference from 500K to $1 million, you a different person. And certainly the distance in between 100K and $1 million is a way different person. You got to move differently. You got to talk differently. You got to walk differently. And I'm talking about legal money. You got to be a whole different person. You got to have a different sleep schedule. You can't be like, I need my 8 hours, coach. Oh, okay, go ahead. All right. Well, it's about health and it's about mental health and work balance. Fuck all that. All right. You can have all that. You got to eat different food. You got to look at the food you eating. All right. That's the same thing. The difference between healthy and fit. Ninjas want to be 6-pack abs and all that shit. Okay, well, here's a needle. Here's a needle. Poke that in your butt, all right, and see if you can fill yourself up with testosterone and human growth hormone. Well, I don't want to do all that. Okay, well. And you're going to eat on schedule, and you're going to make sure you measure your food. I don't want to do all that. Well, you ain't going to have it. You better have super-duper genetics. But people want to do this, and they want to do it as fast as possible, but they don't want to make no changes. They want to go out, have a party. They still want to drink margaritas with salt. They want to drink and go out and hang out every weekend. Guess what? You ain't going to get it. You ain't going to get it. I see people out there doing it. Yeah, they probably already been doing it for 10, 12 years. But you think you're going to do this and be the same person and hang out with the same people and live at your mama's house? No, you ain't. I'm going to tell you. And I've said this to people here where they said, well, I can't get out of my mama's house. You got to look at it like this. If you have a greenhouse full of trees, okay, and these trees want to grow out and stretch out to be the biggest fucking tree they can be. They want to stretch out. But they're in a house. And you're in a house full of other trees. Your sister, your cousin that's down bad, broke, bad mindset, just got out of jail. Your mama, your daddy, your bald-headed granny, 3-4 generations of people, your baby daddy, your kids. Y'all can't grow. Y'all ain't got enough space. You can't even stretch out, widen out. Them roots can't expand nothing because all of y'all losers are in one motherfucking house. And all of y'all preventing each other from growing. You ready to stretch out. You ready to take these broken wings, but you got these fucking losers in the house and people with mediocre mindsets. And you ready to stretch the shit out and they distracting you. They all rehashing the same conversation about struggle every goddamn day. And you think you're going to grow out of that? You're not. So you're going to have to go get roommates. You're going to have to go move with different people. You're going to have to go ahead and leave they mediocre ass alone. You might not be able to do it today, but that better be your goal. That better be your goal because you ain't going to grow with these fucking losers. They've been losers for 10, 20, and 30 years, and you ain't going to grow with them. They ain't growing, so how you think you're going to grow? That's if you want to be a high achiever. If you want to be mediocre and below that, stay with them. That's the basis of the message of the free agent lifestyle. The free agent lifestyle is not just about women. It's about the people you surround yourself with. Your family members, the people in your church, your brothers and sisters, everybody that has a motherfucking mediocre attitude that is not associated with the free agent lifestyle. You got to get rid of them motherfuckers, because the difference between good and great requires you to be somebody completely different and do something completely different. Eat differently, sleep differently, walk differently, talk differently. Anybody wanted you to come back? Chapter 3 of the free agent lifestyle. Don't box yourself in. Fuck racial issues. So when I go off about, I don't care about racial issues, that's a part of the free agent lifestyle philosophy. That's just not me being Uncle Tom. I wrote that in the book as a requirement to be better. Because mediocre people talk about shit like that. I'm a high achiever. Fuck that shit. Well, it's going to affect you one day. I don't care. Let it affect me. It ain't on my journey. It ain't on my radar. So it's not me just saying it. I wrote it in the book as a part of my philosophy that I had to forget about it. I had to let it go. Why? Because you have to go from good to great. It's the only way you go from good to great. It's the only way you go from mediocre to high achiever. You got to get rid of it. When I go off against religion, it's because it's in my book, chapter 3 of the free agent lifestyle. Forget about religion. I don't have time to think about that shit. I can pray when I want to pray, but I'm not going to debate about it because I don't have time for that mediocre conversation to happen every day. I got to think bigger than that. Chapter 3 of the free agent lifestyle talks about that. It's not just something I talk about to trigger you on the show. I have to not let that distract me. I have to not let that distract me because that just boxes me in, and now I'm worrying about that, and it doesn't make a difference between me and you day to day. I have to walk differently. I want you guys to make this make sense. This is not me just doing helter-skelter every day. This is a purpose. The free agent lifestyle is the philosophy. It governs everything. I don't just come on here and do a different shtick just to trigger you. Everything has to make sense. It's connecting the dots. And if you know, because you read the book, you know about it. If you don't know about it and you're trying to figure it out, then you need to read the book because the philosophy is well written, right, and exact.
It's like, if you want to be good, you can be talented and be good. You can wake up and be good. Like, you know, but if you good and you just wake up and be good, you're not going to beat me. You're never going to beat me if you're not doing, 70-hour weeks on your craft, right? And it's like, that is such a hard thing to communicate to people. And it's even more difficult when people are talented. When people get a B easy.
They think they got it.
They think they got it, And it's like, I'm telling you, it's like, it's not easy, but it is really simple to change your life. It's so simple, right? People don't realize that one bad night fucks up 10. You can't get drunk and fucking not work out on Saturday. You mess up 10 days.
Man, in other words, you got to lock in. In other words, you got to lock in. Lock in to whatever you're doing to the point where you are locked in so much that nothing bumps you. Coach, you're going to meet a girl one day and she going to knock your socks off. And I already said in my book, fuck that bitch. Even if even if this was the best woman in the world. Oh, you know what? She the best woman in the world. I got to have her. Coach, what if you met a woman and she had $40 million? Fuck her. That's how locked in I am on my ascent to success. Because I'm not tying my success on anybody else. That's not in my book. That's against the free agent lifestyle principle. It's not on my radar. It's not on my plan. But for you guys, you just want to be mediocre and good. So you'll let that take you over to the side. I'm locked in, boss. I'm locked in. All right, that sounds great. Fuck that bitch. Let her do something else. Right? That's how locked in I am on this. When you wonder why I show up here every day and I'm locked in and I'm good and I'm in rhythm. All right, because I'm locked in. I don't got no girl here and all of a sudden, you know, I get a girlfriend and I'm all caked up and I say, fuck the evening stream. I'm locked in. And I got a timeline on how long I'm going to lock in to what I need to be. I want to be great. I want to get to the point where I have my goal. You'll never know what it is. I'm locked the fuck in. Relationships and marriage and kids can wait. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Now, you guys will find a way to wiggle out of trying to be good, trying to be great, and you will get distracted. You'll get distracted and fuck up your whole goals. Because you don't want to be great. All right, you don't want to be great. You let a couple pieces of sweet potato pie throw your whole goddamn thing off. And guess what? 99% chance it flops. And guess what happens when it flops? You got to start over again. That's why I call it momentum. Momentum. I can't stop the momentum. I have great momentum on this platform. Even when I travel, I make time to get in a couple of live streams. Why? Because it's momentum. If I get a girl and she comes in here 6 months, I take time off and say, fuck it, I want to cake up with my girlfriend. No more evening show. I kill the momentum, and then therefore, if it ends, I got to start back up from where I started, and it stops. It's hard to get momentum going again. Okay? It's hard to get momentum going again. Now you got to figure out how to get it going again, and it's going to be a mess. So I'm trying to set the example. Women can come into your life and bring greatness and confusion. You never know. Most of the time it's confusion. I realize this. I accept it, that's a 99% probability. There's nobody out here that's going to change my life as a female. There's no female that's going to change my life for the positive in the direction and the things that I want out of this life. And not only that, there's not a lot of women that want to be great. They want to be tied to greatness. They don't want to be great. So that means they want me to be great. So why the fuck am I going to tie on to a mediocre or a good woman when I'm trying to be great? Okay? I'm trying to be great. I'm not trying to be married. I'm not trying to be motherfucking attached and be good. I'm not trying to get a woman to say, you don't need to work today. See, women ain't trying to be great. They trying to find someone who's great. So why do I want to be with a person like that and stop what I'm doing? This is where this mindset has to come from. And this is why the next part of this is going to blow your socks off. It's going to blow your socks off. Because this blue chip mindset is real. I'm going to do a couple super chats, and we're going to talk about why, if you ain't got 100K coming up in the next 5 years as a grown-ass man, you cooked. And the basic premise of this is you'll own nothing going forward in this country. There will be nothing for you. Black men, listen up. You will own nothing. Nobody's going to give you anything. There will be no reparations, no repairs. There will be nothing for you coming up. And I'm talking about even the most smallest, slightest thing. You won't be able to own a fucking dog in about 5 years if you ain't got a support system to facilitate this. Now, you might not get to 100K by yourself. You might have a girlfriend or a wife that you can combine your income. But you ain't going to own shit out here. And I'm going to demonstrate that you're in this situation right now. And you don't even realize it. Okay. This was from earlier in today's stream, and we're going to continue that after I catch up on the support. I don't want to sacrifice nothing. Don't want to lock in. All right. Every year, every team I coached said they wanted to win the league championship. I want to win the league. You know how many teams did? 2. 2 won the league. Several teams finished at the bottom of the goddamn standings. They all said they wanted to win the league. Guess what? Time revealed that they didn't want to win the league championship. So every year I would stand up in front of them and say, and okay, now, be honest, because whatever you set your sight on, I'm gonna coach you accordingly. You don't want to win the league. You just want to come out here and be pretty in your uniform. Let's do it. Don't tell me you want to win league and we start trying to go from good to great, because everybody out here good. Every player out here is good enough. They on the court. But there's some people out here ready to be great, and they ready to kick some teeth in. If you ain't ready to do that, you need to let us all know, so I don't come out here in everyday practice try to coach you up to be great. And time will reveal a couple of moments, a couple of difficulties, a couple of losses, and you realize they didn't want to win no goddamn league. They didn't want to go to the NCAA tournament. They didn't want to finish in the middle of the pack. They didn't want to go to the conference tournament. They got a little bit of adversity and tucked tail. And that's what happens to you guys in your life. You get a little bit of adversity and tucked tail. You get a couple of distractions and you motherfucking go to it like a moth to a flame. You don't want to be great. Everybody out here good enough to live. Every day y'all survive. That means you was good enough to make it 24 hours. Mediocre shit. There's bums. There's people that don't even live in that motherfucking house that can go 24 hours and survive. And that's what y'all doing. Shit, that's the average. That's the average. That's mediocre results. Did you accomplish anything? Did you end up in the black instead of in the red? Did you consume? Did you produce more than you consumed? I don't want to do shit out here. Y'all just want to go in here and get what everybody else got as a basic. Well, we're going to find out what's going to happen to you in a minute. All right, but when it's time to lock in, can't even lock in. When it's time to sacrifice, can't even sacrifice. And look at these. Look at the support. I mean, it's just dismal. All right, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. I'm in a good position. No government aim. Achieving wealth and success is like getting in shape. What's hard is the time and effort you put in than what exercise you're doing. The more work you put in, the more our habits change. This is a fact. This is a fact. All right. People want to, you know what sidetracks people? And there literally was, you know, you wonder why I just keep doing the content that I do. All right. Pays the bills. Pays the bills. All right. But yeah, people get sidetracked. I want to do this and I want to do something exciting, man. Hey, look. The people that have great results do the most boring things over and over again. This is why I said most of these comedians cannot do what I'm doing. Why? This would bore the shit out of them. So you're saying they could be as funny as me, and I said they would have to do it 30 days consecutively. That's where they would lose. It's not that they don't have the ability. They don't have the determination, the stamina, the focus, nor they might not even have the desire to do it. I would win just based on that, because it would require them to be present, to sacrifice what they would want to do to try to beat me, to try to prove me wrong, and have the discipline to do it. They couldn't do it. That's why I say I would win. It's not who's funnier. It's not has the best jump shot. It's not who has the most money. It's not who has the most fans. It's who has the discipline to do the most repetitive shit over and over again to beat that record. That's why I said there's not that many people that can beat me. Because most people hate routine. You hate discipline. That's why most people are going to lose. Most people are lazy. That's why they lose. That's the difference. It ain't going to be who's the funniest. It's going to be who going to log in and who going to put in the fucking hours. I'm going to win. And I know it. Right here. Soon as they miss a show, I won. And you miss one show, you're going to miss two. I'm going to win. I'm going to fucking win. That's the difference between the winners and the losers. Not what exercises they're doing, changing up their routine, plateauing. All of that is just excuses and distraction. It's about putting in those times and combining it with the talent. When preparation meets opportunity, it just combines with success. Have to have the ability and you have to have the determination to do the same thing over and over again and do it consistently. That's where the wins are going to be. I'm going to beat them. I'm going to win. It's how I've been able to ascend to the top of this so-called space, because I'm here all the time without fail. Everybody else want to go get a steak dinner and go on a date with a YouTuber, and they fucked up. They want to go shopping. They want to sleep in. I'm going to win. It's the difference. Shout out to Elvis says, and you do it effortlessly. Seemingly, but yes, I appreciate you. The dictator, CGA, just challenged you ninjas to the Royal Rumble. And he says, what you gonna do, brother? I got it, man. Shout out to you. Flash, shout out to you. Minister Flash is in the building for the fire. Nicholas Randolph, thank you for this message, coach. Shout out to you. G Money, he says, I'm going through it right now. Have to move in with the family. No better time to restart than now. 100K or nothing. Shout out to you. Elvis also had a support system right there. Sometimes you got to go move back. It is okay. It is okay to move back. Now, to stay back or depend on that, then I'm going to say probably not. How many people have you heard say living with their family for an extended amount of time as an adult made them who they were? I don't have many stories of that. Okay. So, no government name SD coach talking about how Hollywood steals from the real. What is your take on the Simpsons cartoon predicting things that ended up happening? I only see clips of it, so I don't know. Maybe they know some information, or maybe they getting lucky. Maybe they know. Wise L says, I'm a Gen Z and I'm lucky to learn earlier on that it's easier to make a lot of money than it is to find true love or a stable romantic relationship. It is easier to find that. And I would often be skeptical of any woman that says she's okay with you having less, even though you want to guard against, people using you for money. Why is it okay that you accept me for less? Excuse me. Why is it okay? I often had this problem with older women. Older women. Older women that are mediocre in their lives. They'll sit up there and, have a basic job and want to live together in a 1-bedroom apartment. They're fully okay with that. And I had to literally go, that's not acceptable to me. Oh, you don't need to grind so much and make time to smell the flowers. I get it. I get it. I wish I'd had time to smell the flowers and stuff. That's why when I go on vacation, that's why I travel so much. I go on vacation. I go hard when I go on vacation. But, make time to smell the flowers just means sit up and cuddle with them on the couch. Because there's never nothing productive you're doing when you're not hustling and grinding, right? When you're with them. You're just sitting on the couch looking at her fat ass feet. Okay, and then she just hopping from job to job, getting laid off, working temp jobs and shit. She ain't going nowhere. Like, you got to watch out for that trap. That's why some of the things that you hear me say, it doesn't make sense to you. You're like, well, what's wrong with that? Nah, man, fuck that. MC Hamster says the Vietnamese in 2 generations have made massive moves for themselves after coming to America with almost nothing. More American than a lot of people born here. Unfortunately, if you look at the top producers income-wise in America, they're almost always from other nations, immigrants. Leo K, 98% of people will fail in 2025 because the seeds they planted in 2024 were either non-existent or poorly sown, leaving them with nothing to harvest this year, and they got to start over from scratch. And shout out to Bob says, I didn't choose to be a high achiever. The high achievement lifestyle chose me. Some people have greatness thrust upon them. Shout out to you. And he says, pause. And David Baker says, the high achiever shit is real. I'll be joining the money mindset to get to the next level. I went monk mode 2 years ago and 4x'd. I still need to get right with the new cash flow. Shout out to all that cash flow. Appreciate the raw truth, brother. Word. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for the support. DJ Wi-Fi. DJ Wi-Fi. The more I listen to you, CGA, the more I realize I've been living the free agent lifestyle before I knew it was a term for it. Guys, listen to Coach. I'm 37, no kids, make 6 figures a year. Stock portfolio, travel, whenever I feel like it, passport, bro. And real estate investments is next. There's always a pursuit. Because you know, brother, one little thing and it comes all crashing down. Shout out to you. That's a co-sponsorship. I'm rich, bitch. Shout out to you. Clay says, Coach, I needed to hear this. 2024, crabs in the barrel. He says, I got to fight. I got to fight. The crabs in the barrel syndrome is real. And sometimes it comes from our loved ones. You know, we think crabs in the barrels are just the haters, but it comes from our loved ones. Our loved ones fail to adapt to the understanding that you have to become a new person. We've accepted that in order to reach the next level, you have to become a new person. All right. One thing that they will thrust upon you, the mediocre will say, well, you've changed. You've become different. You are now different than you were years ago. And then that's supposed to make us go, no, I'm not. I'm the same. And we're supposed to feel guilty about changing who we are to become who we need to become. We're supposed to feel guilty and say, no, I'm just like you. I'm like you. You're my people. You shouldn't feel guilty about that because it's required. Otherwise, you're going to stay where you are and possibly go further back. So you must accept it. And if they can't accept the change, then that's on them. If they can't find a way to help you become better, because they can find a way to go, hey, I see you got something going here. Let me help you. Most time they don't. And I'm going to tell you, they'll just fall back. They'll go, oh, they won't know what to do. Or they think you got it. Oh, well, you got it. They don't know what to do because you stepped into a place that they're not familiar with. So it's uncomfortable for them. So sometimes they'll grab you back. Why don't you stay back with us? And you know, they don't know how to assist. Okay. I think the biggest difference between friends and family members who don't want to see you change is they don't know how to assist you in that change. I think if they could find a way to assist you, they would be more helpful. Like they might have to do something even. I think I've seen Anthony Edwards has a couple of brothers. This is a perfect example. And if you don't mind, I'm riffing because I'm in the zone. I saw a documentary and Anthony Edwards is in the documentary. Anthony Edwards is the young basketball player for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He is now in the league, obviously, and doing well and, you know, poster child for the NBA. Well, he has a couple of brothers. They live with him. But in the documentary, his brothers pack his bags. Anthony Edwards doesn't pack his bags, but his brothers pack his bags and they organize his life so that he only has to focus on basketball and making babies, obviously, and playing video games. But when you look at it, that's a perfect description of what I'm saying. They saw him instead of going, oh, he got away from us. He just got money living up in his mansion. They found a way to go, let's help him. Let's still be around him. He's a different person. He's not who he was. He's got a lot more money and opportunities. Let's help him. But in order to help them, they had to take a mediocre role. So when you see them, his older brothers are packing his bag, his suitcase when he travels. Like they're doing little roles. They're cutting up his sandwiches. Now, here's the funny thing about it. When I said your friends and families have to find a way to help you, that mediocre role your family member has to accept. They want to come in and be like, let me be your business manager. No. You can't be my business manager. But can you help organize my closet? Dude, I got rid of a woman because of that, because she was down bad. She came to me. She was like, I'm down bad. I'm looking to help you out. First thing I gave her, this is the first role I did to test her. I took her to my closet and I said, well, can you keep this closet organized? She was like, she immediately scrunched up like this because she wanted me to say, manage my social media. Right? She wanted me to be like, do my AI. She wanted me to say that. First thing I asked her, I was like, can you make sure this closet is organized? She scrunched up like that. That was all I needed to know. I was like, she cooked. Because people want to come into your life and jump into the motherfucking top role. CEO, CFO, manager and shit. Where you need to fill in is make my life easier in other ways. You're not going to jump to the goddamn top. Oh, it was a black woman, of course. It was a black woman. But again, I'm not saying it's because she was a black woman, but she immediately was like, That's what I'm talking about. So when your family and friends want to help you, it's not going to be a top role where they get to come in here in a suit and jump in there and be all in the videos and shit. Why don't you jump in there and help where they need the help so they can be better? Or else you can be the top dog, but you ain't going to be the top dog. Okay? So in the Anthony Edwards situation, that was an example of the brothers going, hey, we could be around our bro. We can support him and we can make his life easier. So we'll pack his bags. We'll make sure we'll answer his phones. We'll do all of that shit. And that's the difference between why your friends and family won't be able to help you rise to the top, because they want to go in there. If they do help you, they want to be all in the front. They want to be all up in the front on the videos behind the camera and shit. All right, let me do this and let me, no, be down here in a supportive role. They don't want to do it. So then they let you go and they just become this person and say, you changed. You see the difference? And then they'll sabotage you. They'll just start putting out bad information about you because they don't know how to help. They don't know what to do. Instead of going, hey, what can I do, man? Let me schedule your day. Let me make sure your dog is walked. Let me pick up the shit in the backyard. Let me do. They don't want to do it because they're like, well, I'm corporate and I have a resume. Okay. I don't need that. You're not just going to jump in here from zero and then jump up to social media manager and shit and editor. And then people call me up. Let me be your editor. Let me do this. Let me do that. Bruh, no. No, that's not where you're just going to fucking jump in. Now that I did all the work. All right. Try to help in other places. Clay, shout out to you. And then last one. Did I get Joe E? Joe Ethereal with the sponsorship. I'm rich, man. Shout out to you. And if you were good enough to be the top dog, you could run your own top operation. But they don't want to do this. I'm like, schedule my day. Make sure I have this. Go to the store when you see shit. Let me take you through the, look at my grocery thing. Organize this. If you see something missing, put it on the grocery list. They don't want to do it. They're like, I don't want to do that shit. And then wanting you to help them. They're like, I want you to help me and give me some access to money and help me with gas money and give me a couple of dollars. And then you ask them for help and they're like, nah, I ain't doing that shit. Fuck that. It's wild. But main event, let's do it. I'm going to try to be brief. Let's take a look at this. The old classic Klaus Strauss. You'll own nothing and you'll fucking like it. I want you to think about these things here. I got some notes. think about the things here that you used to own 5 to 10 years ago, but you don't own today. So the things that I'm going to tell you about in the future, in the next 5 years, that if you don't have a certain income, you will never own in your lifetime. But we're not going to start with the big things. Let's start with the small things. You guys used to own music. You guys used to own music. You used to go to the store, get your cassette, album, CD, tape, all of that shit. Today, we stream music on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, podcasts, or whatever the fuck you got. I had a CD collection of thousands of CDs. No more. Okay, it's just too much to move around. It became heavy and overbearing. I sold those CDs on eBay. I digitized the music before I sold it. And even though I digitized it and I owned it previously, it is now on my Apple iTunes. So now that I update, every time I update my Apple iTunes, I lose control of that music. The music can be altered from Apple of original music that I owned. Now we carry it on our phone, and then we carry it on iPods and shit like that. Apple has phased out the iPod, and now you get digital music, right? So you get their music streaming service. So now your music is mixed in with theirs. And even when you select the song over there, you don't even buy the song. You just select it to their catalog, to the point where if you stop using their subscription service, you stop getting access to that music. So if you switch over to Android, none of that music comes with you. Now it's just over to another service. So whatever those playlists were, whatever you downloaded, that is not for ownership. That is music that you downloaded for their subscription service. You don't even buy it no more. You just download it. I want that a part of my playlist. One payment, one change of credit card, that music is gone. Now, books are the same way. You get on your little Kindle and your Amazon Kindle and you download those books. As soon as you stop using Amazon Kindle, them books is cooked. As soon as you go to another device, and as long as you don't download the Amazon Kindle app, them books are bye-bye. You don't have access to those books. You stop paying for them books, them subscriptions, you don't get them books. Now, if you download it on Kindle and you keep using Kindle, you're going to have to keep using Kindle. You stop using Kindle, you don't got no books. Same thing with movies. Used to be able to, you could buy the movie, stop paying Apple. Stop paying Apple Music. No more movies. How do you watch other movies? Netflix, Hulu. No ownership. You go by the Walmart and see the $5 DVD bin. You don't even got a DVD player to play the goddamn DVDs. You see what I'm talking about? That is a simple shift in ownership. You once was able to own it. Now your ownership stake in it decreased significantly over time. Video games, very similar. You can get the video game as long as it's on the system you want. If it's on Xbox and you switch to PlayStation, you don't get to switch the game. Not only that, most of the game play online. If I'm playing NBA 2K or Madden and I want to go my career or I'm going to go my team and I download uniforms and motherfucking dances on Fortnite, okay? Soon as I switch accounts, all that shit is over on the other account. If I don't have the login and the password, all that shit over there. Okay? I can't switch that shit and take the cartridge and switch it and put it over on this game system. That's over there. I got 2 PlayStations in this house. And if I'm signed in on different accounts, I got different access to different teams. So you're going to have to do all kind of other shit to switch it around. But at the certain time, you're going to be consumed. And there's only so much of that shit you can download. Okay? But all of those video games are pay for play. You want a better team, a better uniform, a better arena, a better ability, you rent it. Soon as the next season come along, all that shit is on last season's. All right, you get NBA 2K 2022, then NBA 2023. None of that shit from 2022 going on NBA 2K 2023. It's all lost in 2022. You got to re-rent all of that shit on NBA 2K 2023. Right? It's all over there in the last season. They're on the different season. You cooked. You see what I'm talking about? And then guess what? What is useless over on the other season? You ain't going back to play the previous season. What's the point? So these things are you're realizing that a lot of these things that we used to own and grasp, it's much easier for us to download it digitally, but there's limitations to it, which means you don't have You don't have ownership over it. Then you have capacity with all of the storage and all of that. It just becomes to the point where, and at some point they'll stop supporting that game, right? So, you'll be like, well, I'll keep playing it. 3 years later, they don't let you keep playing it no more. They don't update it, so you can't play online for certain. So the ownership goes away. However, on Nintendo, I still have a new Nintendo. I can play Tecmo Bowl, Super Tecmo Bowl all day long. All right, still today. That game came out in 1989. I'm still playing it. Nothing changed on it. I'm still running Bo Jackson right there on the sweep. Okay, so just on those little things. Let's say you live in the city. Let's say you live in the city. And you're a person that says, Coach, I live off $3,000 a month. I don't own a car. I take public transportation and Ubers when necessary. That's an example of you becoming comfortable. Klaus Strauss, whatever his fucking name is. That's you becoming comfortable with owning nothing. You're literally going to Uber and public transportation your way around to save money. It's cheaper. I don't have gas, insurance, blah, blah, blah. And now you're going to Uber everywhere. People did this when I was in Rio. I mean, I wasn't going to jump around in them goddamn Mario Karts all the time. So you just Uber everywhere. That's what people do. I Uber everywhere. But now you own no car. You can't get out of Dodge. If there's a fire in Los Angeles, how you going to leave? You ain't got no car. Klaus Schwab. So we got comfortable with saying, oh, we could just alter our way of living. But actually, it goes into the philosophy of you owning nothing because you wanted to save money. Now you have no ownership over anything, right? So when you want to go somewhere or you have a need to go somewhere, you can't. If they have Uber Surge, now that's controlled because you have limitations in ownership. So we've lived in the philosophy in real time of not owning things and becoming comfortable with it and happy with it because it works for us in a certain way. And we make the choice to do it. Then all of a sudden they'll start they have self-driving Uber, and then all of a sudden the robots will drive us around and you'll be like, well, this is better. That's a comfortable thing of not owning things. And that's based on income and things like that. Decision-making, living in cities, and you'll become comfortable with it. Okay. What is the next thing right here? Children. You don't own your children, but you still pay for them. You pay rent them. Shout out to our brother Amin Osiris. You pay rent your children. So you pay for them. You support them. The state has ownership over them. We've given that away. Okay? Because that allows the state to come in there when you're doing a horrible job pay renting them. That allows them to come in there and snatch your kids and traffic them. That also allows the child support system to attach child support to those kids' social security number or the mother. All right? So you don't have any ownership. That makes them tell you to take them to school and what school to take them to. So even this idea of I want kids, I want a legacy. Well, they ain't your kids. They're not your children. They're the state's children. They're not wards of the state, but they belong to the state. That's why the mom can drag you in a child support court at will, and you got to show up. So you don't own those kids. And they got you comfortable with the idea that you don't own them. You pay rent them. They're your responsibility. But the state determines how many vaccines they take to go to school, what school they go to based on what neighborhood and district. Okay, who educates them, what they're exposed to. And especially if you don't want to pay for private school or pay for homeschool, the state gets to tell you what to do with them. So that is an example of you not owning anything. And the less money you have to afford this, the more likely the state will tell you and dictate what you do with that child. We're comfortable with this, right? Then if we can't afford to have kids, we have no kids at all. So now we have to make decisions based on our income, whether we can afford to have kids and how many we can have. Some people say, well, I can't afford to have kids right now. That's basically what I'm telling you today. You don't make X amount of dollars, you cooked. You will own nothing. That doesn't mean you'll go broke. That doesn't mean you can't afford the basic living. It just means you don't get to own anything. You don't get to have kids. You don't get to buy a car. You just Uber around and take the bus. You don't get to own video games and music and movies anymore. But as soon as you leap above a certain income, now you can consider ownership. Now let's talk about this one right here. Land. People used to buy land all the time. In fact, land was literally the entry level into generational wealth. Today, farming, land. Most people can't even own ranches or farm. And those that can, they're being priced out right now. If you look it up, even the ranchers and the farmers can't even support themselves based on how they sell their beef and their cattle. They can't even support themselves because how other people are coming in and dominating that space. The Chinese, Bill Gates, the government. You can't even buy land. That ain't even on your radar. And it's certainly if you make less than 100K, you ain't never gonna own no goddamn land. And that's just the basis of trying to get into generational wealth and even self-sufficiency for yourself. You ain't owning no damn land, but you're out here telling me your rent lifestyle is gonna be good at $3,000 a month. Yeah, you gonna be cooked. You cooked. All right. So the idea that you're telling me this mediocre lifestyle that you're living is actually going to be sufficient going forward in 5 to 10 years, making $3K a month. Nah, cook. And even if you can buy land, how much motherfucking acreage can you buy right now? How much acreage can you possibly get today? Depending on where you are, you could be in Idaho, Montana, Wyoming. You could get your hands on a couple acres. You could be down in South Carolina and places like this. You could get your hands on an acre. You're in California, you're going to get a quarter of an acre. Tops. You ain't getting a bunch of land. You're not swooping up no land. Nevada owns almost all the land, the government, the state. All the land that you see, that empty goddamn space, the government owns all that land. So that's not land that you could just parcel and buy until they decide to parcel that shit up and buy it. And there's developers that's going to swoop in and get it before you get it. All right. But even if you had to, like, you don't make 100K, you ain't even in the conversation to buy up no land. You getting a parcel. That's what you get. You're getting a lot. A lot. You're getting 500 square feet. I'm sorry, 5,000 square feet, maybe 9,000 square feet tops. Because they're going to have that land, they're going to have that parcel tight. And it's going to be your neighbor's house right here. There's opportunities, but you're going to have money. So if you under that 100K conversation, you're not getting land. I don't care how much penny pinching you do. The conversation is moot. You're owning no land. Now let's talk about house, real estate. People call real estate, just think it is housing. Okay, let's talk about single family residences and multifamily residences. You make under 100K, forget it. I mean, depending on where you are, everything's dependent. But you ain't getting a single family house today to even qualify for a mortgage and with down payment considerate. You need to be in the 75K to $150K conversation just to get a basic mortgage. Definitely depending on where you are, but that's a fact. All right, with the interest rates where there are, you ain't got the income, you cooked. Conversation over. In the times past, you could be able to do that. Today, not so much. Even if you in the conversation of 100K, you still tight. Unless you're getting into something ridiculous like a $250,000 property and you make 100K. All right, but you know, that all changed 5 years ago. And if you're talking about buying location, which is what the smart people do, all right, you're going to buy in prime location, you cooked. All right, you're going to buy on the coastline. You're going to buy in good weather. You're going to buy in a recession-proof town. You cooked. You can buy somewhere in the middle of Podunk, Egypt, buttfuck Egypt, if you will, but you gonna buy in somewhere where you possibly won't sell it, or tornadoes or fire and all kind of shit gonna come through it. Floods. All right, y'all buying all of these flood zones and tornadoes and non-insurance places. Go ahead, buy that shit, and it's gonna go up like goddamn toothpicks when the tornado come through. Go ahead. Oh, I can get something cheaper in this area. Good. Go ahead. Buy that shit. You're going to be replacing that goddamn double wide in 10 years. Or you're going to be living in 10 months of snow. That's the majority. That's where we're at right now. Certainly in 5 years, that's going to be the case. You're going to live in places where nobody want to live and nobody want to buy it back when you need to sell it. Nobody going to buy that shit up. Right. All right. So you got housing. Then when you pay off your house, okay. Pay off your house. All right. Imagine you pay off your house and you find out, oh, you still owe a little bit of something on that, and you don't even get to control how much that goes up. That's called property tax. So now you got to pay property tax after paying off your house. Good luck with that death contract you got attached to it, and you still make under 100K. You don't realize that after 30 years, you're going to need some more money when you retire. How you going to afford that property tax for the remaining years you're going to live? Sounds like you're going to reverse mortgage that bitch. You're not passing that on because that property tax going to eat you up. Okay. It's going to eat you up. Most of us got way too much house to even consider paying off. Much of us get a house way too late to even consider the idea that you're going to be 65 before you pay that thing off. I hope the appreciation's great, but you know, I hope the market's great when you want to sell as well. But you're going to be paying property tax. That property tax is going to be an extra payment that you're going to have to make on a fixed income well into your late 50s, 60s, and 70s. As long as you're alive and you have shelter, which ideally, the ideal is to have shelter that you don't have to pay rent or mortgage to, but you're also going to have to pay property tax, which is going to be on a fixed income. But you've made under 100K the rest of your life. How you have enough money for that? You better have lived single, have had no divorces. You better have no kids. You better have no child support. You better have done well with your money to be able to keep this up and do it. Most of us can't even consider this as an option. You know, with poor credit, poor spending habits. This is not even an option today. It's not even affordable to most people. And don't kid yourself. It might be for you, but a lot of people can't even consider a home ownership right now. They can't even consider it, and they make 60, 70, 80, 90K, 100K combined household income. They can't even consider it. And by the time you save your money, don't let the Californians move into your area. They're going to price you out of the marketplace. You're like, I finally saved up some money. All the houses are 250K. Ask Boise. Ask Georgia. Ask Nevada. Ask Austin, Texas. All right. Ask Phoenix, Arizona. The house was $250K. Now, by the time you save 8 years at your $3,000 a month, you done saved up 8 years to plunk down your $15K down payment. Now the damn house $450K. Now the house $500K. Okay, now you're like, what happened? I was going to buy this house. All right, I saved for 10 years at $3,000 a month. What happened? All right, oh, the Californians then moved in. Now that shit is doubled and tripled and quadrupled. And you priced out. Ask Nash Vegas. All right, all these people have been impacted by a marketplace of people looking to transplant themselves. Chicagoans, New Yorkans, Californians. Okay, these people will swoop up and knock you out of your dream house in seconds. But you thought, oh, I can live off of this and I'm good. That's how you're going to get cooked. Am I making sense? Do you disagree? It's more than just about this idea of making $100K. Oh, well, not everybody can make this money. Okay. Not everybody going to make that money, but you're going to need to. You're going to need to. What about clothes today? What about clothes? You see how cheaply these clothes are made? You can get 5 wears out of clothes today. You go to these damn stores in these malls. You wear the clothes 5 times. That shit done shrunk up, become discolored. The fabric all ripping, the thread ripping out the damn clothes. You used to be able to wear clothes for a couple years. Not the fact that your waistline's expanding. Now you got to buy clothes 2 times each season. And don't try to buy the clothes for the season you're in. Them clothes was on the clearance rack. They buying clothes for the next season. You're like, oh, shit, what happened? All these clothes at the mall, these cheaply made, they have a phrase for what these clothes are called. But these are once a wear goddamn clothes. You can't even own a closet full of clothes, these cheap ass clothes they making. All right. One size fit all. Right. All right. This fucking, yeah, they call it fast fashion. That's what they call it. Fast fashion. Cheaply made clothes that you can wear 3-4 times best. All right. Before they start putting a hole under the armpit. And they become completely discolored. Fast fashion. That's what you guys spend all your money on the mall. All right, cheap ass clothes. Okay, which is basically, yeah, it's supposed to be disposable. You basically supposed to wear them 3 or 4 times, ball them shits up and throw them away. All right, you don't own these clothes anymore. They supposed to be thrown away. Overpaid for them too. Yep, the Temu, Shein. All right, all of the clothes in the mall, H&M. These are all garbage clothes. These clothes are just once a wear fast fashion. They're not meant to be preserved and worn and reworn. And, you know, a button pops off and you pop the button back on. You wear them shits 2 times and you can throw them away. They as good as dead. You don't own clothes no more. You just renting clothes from these stores. You just renting clothes by the week. Sneakers, tennis shoes, all these cheaply made quality shit. All right, overpaying for them. Old Navy, same thing. Fashion Nova. These are all cheaply made clothes that you're going to wear a couple times and then it's cooked. All right. But, that's an idea of you. What if you don't have enough income to keep buying clothes? Then you get out of fashion pretty quick. Now you looking like, some of y'all still running around here with pleated jeans. Some of y'all still running around here wearing tight jeans, and the fashion changed. It was tight jeans, then baggy jeans, then tight, then baggy. So now you're going to look out of style real quick wearing some pleated Dockers. Right? So you better have a style that benefits you to understand how this fashion works, or else you're just going to be renting clothes. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of women don't care about this shit. Like, they don't care about this, so they don't realize this is happening to them. So they're constantly buying these little short crop top shirts and shit like this at 21 and forever. All right. Just garbage. Yep, skinny jeans are now outdated. Y'all done went and finally said, fuck it, man. I guess I better get some skinny jeans. Now they outdated. All right, by the time we finally accepted it, all right, I guess, you know, they doing the skinny jean shit. Now I'm running around here looking like a penguin, all right, and the boys then went back to baggy shit. All right, you better develop a style. I have a certain style that seems to be very plain to where it can withstand all of this movement of fashion. So I tend to wear same color shirt, same style jeans. I might have to switch them a little bit, less baggy, less baggy. All right, I develop a style that kind of works for me. Same kind of shoes. All right, that way I don't get out of style tremendously, although you can't always prevent it. But if you try to follow fashion, you're going to be renting clothes. All right, same thing with suits. All right, first the suits are regular suits. Then they went Steve Harvey baggy with 8 buttons. Then they switched up back to more conservative. Then they went to the tight penguin shit with the capri pants and shit. All right, then they went back to just get classic suits. Classic cut, stay like that. So that way you're not renting clothes all the time. All right, otherwise you're going to get got. All right, with that being said, let's talk about relationships or where you live. It's about where you live. Do you live where you want to live or where you can afford? Do you live where you want to live or where you can afford? Most people live where they can afford. That's an example of what I'm talking about. You don't have the income, so you can't live where you want to live. Similarly, expats live America to be able to live affordably. They'll say, hey, leave America. Live over here in a somewhat underdeveloped country. It's kind of developed down here. Don't worry. They have developed areas. But if the electricity went out for a fucking week, you'll be assed out. And there's big ass mosquitoes and it's hot as fuck. All right. During the rainy season. All right. But you have to give up your ownership to the land you were born in. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. Because you didn't say, all right, I want to be exceptional. You didn't even try. You just stayed mediocre. Now you got to live in Mosquito Hut. Okay. Now you got to live in Mosquito Hut. This ain't too bad. This ain't that bad. But you gave up ownership. You gave up ownership to America. They said you'll own nothing and you'll like it. You gave that up because you can live where you can afford. I'm not saying it's a bad decision, but it's an example of what I'm saying. You gave up ownership. And now you can't come back. You can't come back. You can't invest in ownership in the land. You can't buy real estate. You can't up your portfolio. You're out. Once you step out, you can't come back. You try to come back, you coming back down here. That's an example of what I'm talking about. I'm not talking against it. I'm just saying that's giving up ownership. That's when I said you'll own nothing and you'll like it. Californians do it all the time. I'm going to go where it's cheaper. They go there. I didn't realize it was this cold. They try to go back to California. You can't come back. Priced out. That's an example of giving up ownership. You're priced out. So you'll own nothing. You can be fine with it. I'm not saying that, again, it is what it is. It is what it is. Do you live where you want to live or do you live where you afford? That's not freedom. Freedom would be, I can afford to live where I want to live. Those are two different mindsets. But if you're staying at home with your parents, which most young people are doing, you're staying with your parents where the fuck they live in Milwaukee, all right? You don't want to live in Milwaukee. The job industry sucks in Milwaukee. There you go. You gave up ownership. You gotta stay where you at because you're under the qualification numbers right here. You're under the number. So you gave up ownership in your ability to live where you want to live and the life you want to live. Okay? Last one, relationships, partnerships. They become partnerships now. Today, the word relationship has been exchanged with partnership to the point where women want partnerships. They have no interest in relationships. They want a partnership. Now, nobody can tell me what that can mean, but it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like they're investing much of anything. They're investing what they're willing to invest, but they're expecting you to invest whatever it is that you're investing, which is going to be probably money. Probably money. So you'll never own a woman. You'll never get your own personal woman. You'll get a series of fucking women that you rent. You'll just go from woman to woman and rent them in space and time. You know, try to transact these partnerships, and then you'll get rid of them, and then you'll go to another woman and rent her for a little bit. Ladies, you'll rent your guy. All right, you'll enjoy some time. You go to the next person and rent them and rent them and rent them and rent them and rent them, and you'll go through a series of people and rent the fuck out of them. You'll never own one. Even if you marry one and have kids, you just rented that bitch. All right, write down. No ownership in the person, no stake, no nothing. Am I tripping? Am I tripping? You ain't owning the damn thing. You can't even own your own girlfriend and boyfriend and wife and spouse at this point. It's all partnership, rental agreement, lease. Subscribing to bitches. Yep. Industry said you just subscribing to bitches like Netflix. Going back from Netflix to Hulu to Disney. All right, just to the next bitch to the next bitch. Subscription service. And then want to say they ain't paying. Oh, yes. Well, you might not be paying, but you renting. It is a fact. So when you talk about this, you staying under the number, you're being priced out of even all of these things. Let's just say, man, I want all of these things. I want my land. I want house, car. I want my video game. I want to own all this shit. Your number going to have to go up higher. You can't stay at a bottom number and think you're going to have all of these things. You're not going to have them. You're going to have a few of these things, if any. If any. And there's no argument against this. I've laid this conversation out like a genius. And I'm going to tell you, take a look at this. Take a look at this. If you don't know how fast money costs, how fast inflation changes, how you can afford things, take a look at this simple number. Look up any CPI inflation index or anything, a calculator. And let's just take 25 years ago and say what was standard 25 years ago and how much buying power it gives you today. So 25 years ago, right there, Y2K. Most of you were born right there. At least everybody watching me is probably born right in that year right there, at least. What looked good at $50K now today is $93,000 in buying power. Just like that. See, staying the same is not the goal. You got to change who you are as you age because everything around you changes. Staying the same ain't it. Don't ever tell me or anybody else that practice the free agent lifestyle is staying the same is the goal. So you say, I'm good off 50K. 5 years, I'm good. Look how fast you get priced out. Look how fast you get priced out. And I can play with these numbers because I was born in the 70s, but I'll give you 1980. I'll give you 1985. That was a good year. Let's calculate that. In 1985, I'm making 50K. Today, that's 150 grand in buying power. 50K in 1985 is today 150 grand in buying power. Like that. And you can't tell me 1985 wasn't that long ago. I still remember 1985. That was a wonderful year for me. Everybody remember the Super Bowl shuffle. Everybody remember that. That's the Super Bowl shuffle year, 85, 86. You thought you was living good. Not today. You still at that same income or relatively at the same income, you cooked. All right, let's not fuck around. Let's go ahead and give you 2005. Let's go 20 years ago. 20 years ago, 50K in 2005 is 82K today. Now, Leo is saying investments is key. That's a fact, because if you're living under 100K in 5 years, you don't even have money to invest. You're renting everything. You're renting everything. You don't even have money to sock away and set aside. Most people don't. We know this statistically. Most people don't have $1,000 to their name right now. That's in the 60 and 70% of Americans don't even have $1,000 to their name, no matter what their income is. How are you going to save money? How are you going to invest? How are you going to compound interest? How are you going to invest and start your business? How about this? Let's take it a little bit lower. Take it to 2015. That was a good year. 50K is now $67,000, $68,000 in buying power. How you got money to put into your crypto? So even just 10 years ago, not even fully 10 years ago, look how much has changed in 10 years. Let's go to right before COVID. Right before COVID. That's going to be, let's do, yeah, we'll do like just 2019. 62K. All right, 50K is now 62K in buying power, to give or take. That's still significant. You didn't see a raise, you took a pay cut. Somebody said, what does buying power difference mean? Well, how much value your money gives you. How much value your money gives you. What it's going to take to live and buy the things you need to buy. You have 50K 10 years prior. You're going to need that much more money to get the same buying power. That dollar is going to have that much worth or much less worth. Cost of living, cost of goods and services. So what you can afford 10 years ago, you can't afford today. You're going to need a little bit much more. And what we know is cost of living. Salaries have not increased. We have a competitive job market, so people can offer you less. They don't have to bump the income up significantly. We don't have a competitive job market. I'm sorry. We have a competitive job market. So people aren't throwing out $100,000 a year jobs. They could just get you for $75K, 50. All right. They can underpay you. They can underpay you. I wonder if we can go forward. We can't really go forward, but let's just take that 10 years again, or let's just take the 100K. 100K in 2019 compared to today is $25,000 less 5 years ago. Just your maintaining your whatever you're spending your 100K on in 2019, you need $25,000 more today. And I said by 2030, you under 100K, just take this and double it. You need $50,000 more in 2030. You need 50 grand more than you're making today. All right, let's drop it down to the number here. Let's just say 65,000. 65,000 right here. You need 81. So you need you're up about $17,000, $16,000 more. Just look at wherever the number is. Just jump, and that's 5 years difference. Let's jump this ahead 5 more years and just, for quick maths, double it. You need, if you're making 65 in 2019, you're going to need $25,000 more to live 10 years later. All right, you see where I'm at. All right, did I lay out my case? These are the blue chips I'm telling you. So then, you're going to need to march this ahead. So you're going to need to figure this out. This is why when I tell you average, mediocre sounds great. All right, but time keeps on slipping. Time moves ahead. So does inflation. So does a lot of things. Yesterday's prices ain't today's prices. You were living good and comfortable then. You're going to need a lot more going forward now. Let's say you were like, I live off $3,000 a month. Okay. I'll push this back 10 years. Coach, I live off $3,000 a month. I'm good. All right. Well, in 10 years later, you'll need $4,000 a month, $4,500 a month. It's going to be a need. So you're going to be, you gotta understand that this is going to happen no matter what. All right. This is why the boomers were able to say, I bought a house making 40 grand a year, $35,000 a year in 1980. Let's go up to 1980. Average house, $150K a year. Average income, barely $40,000 a year. What would that income be today? So you would need $162,000 a year today to qualify at the prices they were qualifying at back then. For you to get the house, because the house that they bought in 1980 certainly ain't the same price it was in 1980 today. That shit is worth $800K today. So for that same house that they bought in 1980, there's no 1980 version of that house. That version is now $800K. So you're going to need $162K to get that goddamn house. You see? You see that? And, they was living swell off of 40K. They was living great off of 40K. They was at the height of the market. They was living Coogee. 100K in 1980 is probably about, let me see if I can put this in, and this will be the last one. 100K, these were called the yuppies, by the way. The yuppies, 100K in 1980 today is worth $405,000 a year. Like, if you were making 100K in the 1980s, you were wealthy. Like, you were on your way, not wealthy, you were on your way to rich. You were killing it. You got a BMW 3 Series. You got your fucking Gordon Gekko suits. You living in the 1980s on 100K. Today, you'd have to make $500,000 close to it to have the same lifestyle. New world order. When I tell you, man, if you ain't approaching trying to get to that 100K in the next 5 years, you cooked. I don't mean to scare you, but yeah, you got the brick phone and he said a 7 Series Beamer. All right, you were in the rich category, making 100K a year in the 1980s. Today, it is what it is, huh? All right. enough about that. Let's do these super chats. Get the hell up out of here. I hope this was an inspiration today. I hope this was an inspiration. Some people are going to be in the comment section trying to talk y'all off the ledge and say I messed up somewhere. Just keep it basic. You know, there's always some stuff in there. There's some nuance in there for sure, for certain. Okay? It's not an exact science. I didn't intend today for it to be an exact science, but you get the point. You certainly can get the point. The picture is clear. There's no exaggeration of what I'm talking about. Okay? Most of us are getting to the point where we own absolutely nothing. All right. And it's the truth. Some of us have to make concessions, and some of us have to live in places we don't want to live. You have to make that concession. All right. So there's exception to the rule. There's nuance to the conversation, but this is 100% certain. As time goes forward in the next 5 to 10 years, if you're not pressing forward to be exceptional, extraordinary, and you're being mediocre and you think that's going to pass, it's not. It is not. It's a fact. All right. It ain't going to cut it. No government aim. Achieving wealth and success is like getting in great shape. What's hard? Oh, I already read that one, but shout out to no government name. Yep. This wasn't an attempt to scare you. I just gave you the facts. Shout out to our brother here. And it is Mr. Yanga in the building. I can't pronounce it, but we got it. Yakwi Yanga says, shout out to you and the coach gang. Free agent lifestyle for life. For life. All right. Ain't no playtime's over, man. Playtime is over. Y'all playing games with y'all live. Shout out to Jeff, the producer, for being here again. I Need Money says, keep at it. Support here. Thank you, brothers, man. That's generous. Shout out to Lamont Thomas says, I'm refocused. Appreciate it. Stay focused. Stay locked in. Shout out to the Dark King. Appreciate you, sir. Sheldon Ross says, thanks for the motivation tonight. I must do more. You're all capable of doing more. H every day. Thank you, coach. He says, plan obsolence. He says, NWO, your usefulness is done. All right. You guys got to overcome. Oh, by the way, new world order. You also have to overcome massive amount of distractions being placed in front of you at all times. And expect the unexpected. That's Murphy's Law. By the way, if you ain't on the blue chip mindset, the money mindset, it's Coach Greg Adams. Patreon.com/Coach Greg Adams. I break stuff like this down all the time. If you ain't over there, you're missing out. Because they put distractions in front of you, and they got a lot of losers out here to tell you, nah, don't be better. Don't start a business. You're not capable. It fails. Right? They'll tell you, and they'll keep you right down there. Oh, you're a grifter. You're doing this, man. I mean, bruh, if you let these people prevent you from surviving, you deserve to get what you get. These people are going to prevent you from surviving because they're a loser, or at best, they're mediocre. Shout out to Euro Bryant says, for the fire you've been spitting, I'll be joining the Money Mindset again this weekend. He says, didn't have time to catch the previous Zooms due to the grind. Yes, indeed, man. Let's get back to it. Shout out to you. Don't let these losers and these drifters prevent you from getting what you need to get out of this world. Shout out to Joe E again. I'll acknowledge you again. Sponsorship. I'm rich, man. Bread and Butter says, one more time for the King of Kings. This message from the message bringer. Shout out to the message from the message bringer. Co-sponsorship. Soldier for God says, just a friendly reminder that people either have discipline or jealousy. And when they don't have discipline, all they got is jealousy. All they got is jealousy left. And I had to check my hater spirit a few years ago. All right. Because, you know, when you're doing social media, you're competing, and you definitely be like, hey, what's going on? And why this and why that? And you're like, why me? And why not them? And why? And so you start getting a hater spirit. And I had to check that shit at the door, man, and say, man, I better like people's videos. I better acknowledge that I was there. All right. Even if I don't like them, or I just stumbled upon their video, I don't want to like their shit. All right. I'm like, let me like their shit. Let me just appreciate them from being there, because I want people to do the same to me. I had to check that hater spirit at the door so I can appreciate the haters that I got. Okay. So I can understand why they fucked up. All right, but if I'm a hater and they're a hater of me, then you know what I mean? I think we're both haters, you know what I mean? But I had to stop hating on people and hating on content creators and being jealous of their progress and success and wondering why it ain't happening for me. I had to just be like, hey, fuck it. I'm the king of the king. I'm the king of kings. All right, they got to catch up to me. Hey, I like what they're doing. I appreciate what they're doing, or I won't watch them. But that hater jealousy spirit is due to your lack of ability or discipline to do what you need to do to be better than that person you hating. All right, Big Joker ATL in the building. Shout out to you. Snaptech Fix says pulled in $265K last year, deposited, and it's still tight over here when you got to maintain a family. Reasonable entertainment expenses, travel, and investments at $100K. I know people who are still broke. They don't got $3.85 to rub together, but won't take action to improve their situation. And that is a fact. And overstand too. That's a fact. And the sad part is, even if you got to 100K, you still might feel insufficient because the people you start to surround yourself with got a lot more. You like, whoa, like how you get all that and you won't even understand it. But let me tell you, man, it is a battle. Because when you get into 260K a year, you do start to do things like travel, and you start to have families and, you know, investments and properties. You know, it gets tight. Then you start to pick where you live, and you're like, I make 265K. I can live where I want to live, and it ain't cheap. It ain't cheap. So it is tough all the way around. It's a grind. But if you don't want to grind, we get it. But as you can see, I proved my case. Standing still or standing in the middle of the road is no solution. You're going to get consumed and eaten up, gobbled up like Pac-Man power pellets. All right, for sure. You're going to get consumed relatively quickly, and things will tighten up and constrict around your neck like a boa constrictor, and you'll be shit out of luck. All right, quick. Maryland guy, Coach, I make 80K right now. Thanks for the inspiration. I want to make the leap now to the next level. All right, and we wish you all success in doing so, but at this point, it's a necessity. It's a necessity. Shout out to Gary Hall, says, thanks for the info. I'm taking my first passport, and none of my friends is going. All right, you going on your first passport trip? None of your friends are going. You're going to save money and enjoy yourself much more. With that being said, I wish you guys good night. I'll be back. I'm almost at 100%, so I'm actually feeling better now. So I'm going to be ready to go tomorrow, Thursday. Shout out to the Coach Gang. Hit the like button on the way out. Thank you for the support. Peace.